This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Game Time. And before I introduce everybody here, I don't normally have in-studio guests. It's like rare that I have in-studio just about anything, right? Nobody cares about. But I have an audience member right there watching intently. He came down and he sat right down. And he's just kind of watching everything. So I don't know if I'm invading his space, but you can see he's just kind of like...
He's actually controlling your mind.
Yeah,
right
he's bored. So I figured I'd show that off.
He's going to keep tabs on you. Make sure you're doing everything right.
That's the thing. We got Bill here in the house. What's going on, Bill?
Hello, I'm here.
You still got your Marvel? Oh, wait, no, is that the Arcade?
No, just the Arcade's the only one left down here. That'll go up in the game room this weekend.
Nice. What are you going to put there then?
I have no idea. It's going to be an empty space for a while. And yeah, I can't play my games while I work. So I'm going to have to actually work all day.
What are you going to do? Oh, we'll have to see. We'll see what you come up with. That'll be interesting to see next week, what you come up with. And then we've got the complainer. She's been sick all week, so I'll give her some space on this. But how are you doing, Jade? Are you awake with us here, or do me, Moat, and Bill got to keep you awake?
I'm suffering.
Yep. So here's Moat was sitting here just kind of shaking his head. I told you this is gonna be a long episode.
It's crazy. I come in, all of a sudden she's suffering. I thought my presence would have at least made you chip her up and perk up a little bit. Don't suffer too much. It's like 27 minutes in, then you can suffer.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
Right away.
It did. I'm only kind of suffering now.
How are you only kind of suffering? What does that even mean? Elaborate.
I don't know. Just look at me.
She's got the Rona, people. She says not, but I think she has the Rona. Okay, so we've got some Arcade1. Let's start off. We got some Arcade1up stuff to talk about. As you guys know, you saw the clickbait that I put out there, but it's not really clickbait, but it is clickbait.
Arcade1up. News and notes.
All right, so the first biggest thing with the Arcade1up news is I gotta ask, okay. So yesterday was International Women's Day. And Arcade1up decided to do a spotlight on this person right next to me. And apparently, Jade, you have been just persevering and battling through, I don't even know what. I'm hoping you can kind of elaborate a little bit on what they're even talking about, because when we were talking about it, you're just like... Yeah, I have no idea what they're talking about. So please, fill us all in. I think your fans and inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I mean, I think it was it was a very kind gesture. But yeah, I mean, as far as like I saw a lot of people commenting on the breaking down barriers. I don't really know.
What barriers are you breaking down?
Maybe
Besides your house, what are you breaking?
There's low-hanging fruit that you can take in this moment if you choose to take it.
My violent criticisms of their products, maybe.
Jay, real fast, remind the people how many Arcade1ups you own in this moment.
In this moment,
2,
1, 2, 3, 6.
Oh, really? 6?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Is that the ones that are still waiting in the garage that you need to take to people's houses that you?
No.
Bought?
Those ones I sold. I sold those.
All right, so you actually own that. You're not getting rid of 6 of them.
I might get rid of 2 more, but well, look, because here's the ones that I like the most: Dragon's Lair, Star Wars, and Tron,
and Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 might be an afterthought because I actually have a Naomi now. So,
say that. So you're gonna do me dirty like that. You make me go buy the stupid thing. I buy it, and now you.
No, it's still a great collector's item though. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I might just keep it for like the collecting aspect of it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you came to the right place. This is the Arcade1up yard sales, and we're gonna talk about that because I don't know about all of you guys, and I'm going to use Michael B. And this is not.
MG.
And I want to preface this:
God,
MG is here,
back.
and I get a little story later about MG, but I'm not going to get to it yet. I don't want to lose my train of thought. But I'm not in any way disparaging
don't derail
anything.
it. We don't want to derail
that
it,
Michael B. was selling his arcade cabinets. But what I think is funny is community people coming out and going, "Well, all these content creators are getting rid of their Arcade1ups. Maybe I should get rid of mine too." Because maybe they know something that I don't know, or they see that they're buying all these real cabinets and these real pinball tables, and maybe they know something that I don't know. Maybe I should go buy them. And so that's what I want to discuss with the panel here, because Jayde, you have the real cabinets, and I personally don't see the appeal in 2023 of owning these power-sucking, maintenance hassled and ridden machines, unless you're nostalgic about one cabinet that you want to keep and just keep it around and make sure it doesn't end up in a landfill somewhere. But like the Arcade1up, despite the emulation problems, despite the other problems that everybody likes to nitpick about, I don't really see the draw of like having one of these, especially when 90% of the people don't even know how to fix them.
I mean, I think it's very niche collector oriented. Like, if you think that you're gonna, if you think because you're watching YouTube now, this is just a hypothetical person that we're talking about here. But if you're a viewer and you think that because somebody's channel is saying like I'm getting rid of all my Arcade1ups to get real machines, I mean, it's not that simple. I mean, there is maintenance involved, and there's a lot of risk involved too. I mean, like, so those cabinets that I just picked up, like, they need a lot of work. Like, for example, my Z-Back, it was $200, and it came with a Naomi in it, which is a treasure, a working Naomi, which is like a treasure find, and a good monitor, but it was still a gamble. And then I have to refinish that whole entire cabinet now. And that's like a ton of work and time that you're putting into it to make it actually come out and look right. And those things takes a lot of practice to get that right as well, and to know how to do it. So, I mean, anybody, could do it potentially, but what you're getting with a 1UP is you're getting something that doesn't require a lot of maintenance. If it breaks, they just send you a new part. And of course, it's not going to be as big and as sturdy as a coin-op machine, but why are you really getting a 1UP?
Well, and that's what I want to get into that, but I also want to, like, I'm not putting down anybody like this gentleman here, crazy old Maurice. He said he got rid of him. He's down to 8 from 27. He sold 4 last week, keeping the rows worth and building a movie theater. So I think that's awesome. If you just don't want to play them anymore because they're just sitting around collecting dust, and you're going to make a movie theater like Michael B., he clearly stated in his video, like, I'm building a playroom for my kids. Okay, he didn't say he's like jumping on the bandwagon of going and doing all the real arcades, because
right.
I think you're going to run into a problem, and any of you guys feel free to jump in on this too. I think you're going to run into the problem that you're going to spend more time fixing these machines. Now, Jayde, you're flipping them, you're selling them, that sort of thing, just like Ralph does and some of these other guys. You're going to spend more time fixing than playing, and I would rather just turn on my cabinets and play.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, a lot of like Arcade1ups have been a great thing because they've given me the opportunity to own some cabs that I may never own. And you guys know, like, a Z-Back has been one of the ones, for example, that I've been after for a long time, or an HS5. And so I managed to acquire both, right?
Yep.
But I have to put work into maintaining them, and then, getting them looking the way that I want them to. And I have my own personal preferences. That doesn't mean that I'm going to throw away all my one-ups. It just means that I'm going to narrow down my collection. And I feel like I've been narrowing down my collection for a long time. And, you really have to consider, like, the price, the work that you're going to put into these things. And additionally, like, they're heavy. They are really heavy. So, you've got to be equipped to be able to move these things around or get them from point A to point B. And, like, I have Danny, who, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to even get half of these things, because he moves them for me.
Because you're sick all the time.
Right, because I'm sick all the time.
You don't have strength. Bill,
sick of your
Bill, do you think this is, and Mo, I kind of want your opinion on this. Do you think this is just somebody said it in there, people losing interest, interests are moving. Do you think that this is something that content creators are just getting bored of? They're tired of reporting on it. I mean, I saw P-Dubs leave it a chat the other day and said, you know what? Let some of these new content creators cover all the ins and outs of Arcade1up and some of these other ones. I'm kind of moving past that. Do you think that's what's happening?
I think it's kind of important for us to stay kind of, not like, we don't have to be as deep in that zone, but I think, like, the content, and I'm not very experienced, but I mean, like, Bill and me are kind of like same time frame of coming out, and I think it's still important because, like, we've been in the niche long enough to where, like, and this goes for all of us on the panel, that we've experienced, like, these ups and downs with Arcade1up and seen a lot of the things that happen. So I think it's important for us to, like, still keep it on our radar and kind of participate in it. But, with how saturated it's getting now, I'm going to shut up so that Bill can talk.
Gee, thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I agree with that. I started my channel because I bought an Arcade1up. I liked it, and I, got into them, and I'm still into them. I only own, let's see, 3, 4. I own, I guess, 6 of them now, if you count the 3 uprights I have. I have the pub table and 2 party caves. And there's a few that are coming out that I'm interested in getting later this year. I really don't have a lot of interest in owning a real arcade machine because they are heavy for the space that I'm putting these things. I'd be nervous about them being on the floor above where I live, and breaking through at some point. Yeah, and I look at it like, look, there's people who like to pick up, old cars that don't work and fix them up and get them running. And that's a hobby in and of itself, of just fixing up old cars. I'd rather buy a car that works that I can put the key in and just go. I have no interest in fixing up old cars. And it's the same with arcades. I have no interest in fixing up an old arcade machine.
That is a great analogy.
I want a machine with a bunch of games in it that I can enjoy. I like, and I know people have talked about, like, ALU and, coin ops and all that, but I like having multiple machines that remind me of the original arcades as well. So yeah, look, somebody said it in the chat, people's interests shift, and who knows, 5 years from now I could be bored with Arcade1up and Maybe there's something else that I'm interested in. Who knows? But for now, that's not the case. But I understand how people can just, get bored of a hobby and want to move on. I've had multiple hobbies in my lifetime that I don't anymore. I collected comics for years and years and years, and I sold off all my comics partially to put into this as a new hobby. It happens.
Brother Moat, what do you think?
So I think that as far as like Arcade1up goes and keeping them or selling them or whatever else, I think a lot of people are selling, but eventually you're going to have to sell. And the reason that you have to sell is because you want to be able to. Some people want to be able to upgrade their next cabinet to the next version. They want to be able to move on. MVC2 is a perfect example of that, where they split the releases for MVC and X-Men versus Street Fighter, but to get all the titles, you had to have both on one cabinet, And then Matt Astor said something earlier about people really bought a lot of them during COVID.
Yes.
And let's be real, it's still out there floating around. But people needed stuff to do. People had time to kill. And it was just like, oh, I see this on TV. I see it on QVC or HSN, or I see it in a Walmart. Let's pick it up.
Still very mod heavy. Still very mod heavy during that time period as well. So they were more project oriented back then.
Yeah. And you needed something to keep your hands busy. Everybody was pretty much at home for months on end. Yeah. So, that became a thing. But once you were able to get out and about again and do things, it was, well, this is just sitting here collecting dust. I'm guilty of that. It's just one of the things where it's just, I bought a Pac-Man 40th just because it was on sale during the pandemic. There's a lot of cabinets I think we've all bought, and it's just with the intention that now we're getting older and it's just kind of like, or getting wiser, and it's like, well, I don't need 40 of these. I don't need 3 of these. I own 3 Street Fighters. I don't need 3 Street Fighters. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think at my highest I had like 17, and I think I'm down to like 9 or something like that now. Well, it's more of, it was exciting. It was. I think it was more for, at least for me, it was the thrill of the chase. It was, oh man, we can't wait to see what's coming out next. And then we see what's coming out, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then it dies down. Then we get to another season, and where else? And now it's to the point where I can't speak for everybody else. For me, it's just kind of gone, And for me, it's just like, all right, if something is coming up from Arcade1up or one of these other companies, I'll cover it. Cool, whatever. But like Jade, you put up a community post, I think it was last week, stating flat out that, hey, I'm stepping away from this. If there's something you want to ask me to review, cool. But I'm going to take my channel in this direction. And I think a lot of people that have been doing it long enough are kind of starting to go that similar route. You know what I mean? Because honestly, and I've said it numerous times, I don't know how much we can all say the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? And
but I gotta ask though, is like, just like this, okay? I set out to build my own arcade, and every Saturday night I have a game night. Not everybody does this. Not everybody gets together, and I feel like, I said this to Jade earlier today. I said, not one of these people had said, man, I really wish you had a real pinball. Not one person said, man, I really wish you had a real arcade, or this just isn't doing
but I
it
mean,
for
like,
me.
that's totally like personal preference, though.
Well, so what I'm getting at though, do you think that in the community that there was a bit of FOMO with everybody getting these cabinets, like they wanted to see what everybody else was experiencing, and now that's starting to wear off?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I am so proud of myself that I did not spend $1,000 on that Killer Instinct Pro.
Yeah.
And if I went in my closet, like I have all kinds of KI 1 and 2 stuff, memorabilia, and I'm so glad I didn't buy that, because not only was it restraint, but watching Jade open it live on stream and dealing with it, watching OTG do his thing with it and whatever else, and now watching Michael B's review of it, it's just one of the things like, man, that's $1,000, And Steven, you're in a unique, you're in a unique position, like. You give your old arcades to your church. You do like these game nights, whatever else. So you're in a different position where, and I had that view as well. I was like, man, I want to build a house. I have arcades still in the box because that's the goal one day, to have my own arcade. But then it eventually becomes, well, if I see an arcade, like, and I look at Facebook Marketplace or offer up whatever, and I see them, I'm like, if these cost as much as the one up, maybe with a little know-how, a little ingenuity, and maybe a little effort, I could just get a real one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other side of it as well. When things start costing more than actual pieces of technology, and like good tech, you're just kind of like, well.
Now, one of the kids did say he likes playing Golden Tee better on the ALU because the trackball's better on there. He's like, that one just sucks. Chat. Yes, I'm gonna pull it up here so you can read that if you wouldn't mind. But
okay, $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy with a K. Thank you, Zohar. And he says, I think people are selling because they see the direction 1UP is going with riserless cabs, and it's no question it looks way better without risers. And
I don't
I mean,
disagree with that.
yeah, that's
And
not
I'm not
wrong.
talking about people that are selling to upgrade to a newer cabinet, because eventually these PCBs are going to die, right?
People who are
Mhm.
getting out of it. But here's another thing
Right.
too. There was I forget what his channel is, but I've watched a couple of his videos. But there was a guy who did one of the, I think he kind of started the like I'm quitting Arcade1up trend. But he was very just had a very logical approach to it. But anyways, his reasoning was just like he had, I think, a lot of fighting cabs and cabs that didn't really require any like special control sets, and he was kind of like, why have like these Arcade1ups that I keep paying $300 for, $500 for, when I could just have one nice multicade. And I think that line of thinking makes sense to me as well. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I went out and did that. Um,
But it depends on why you want it. Do you you guys probably
Right,
have
but-
no
but
interest in
the
having an
specific
arcade?
reason is like if you have a multicade, you can play like all the fighting games. I mean, you can really play anything on it. So that's
But what
one
do you
thing.
do when you have people over and you got
Right.
8 people there
Right.
that want to
Exactly.
play, and you have a 2-player multicade?
Right.
Everybody's got to take turns.
But
That's what I
but-
didn't want.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like it fit his life narrative. You know what I'm saying? For him to do that, and so I think that there's an element to like the bandwagon thing where people are just like running with it, and they're not paying attention to that. Some of these people,
Agreed.
including myself, are saying like I'm doing this because it fits my life narrative better.
I mean, Mo,
because
right.
this is what I've learned, and now this is where I'm at in my collecting process, and it fits
Right.
my life narrative better.
And Mo, I mean, let's just be honest. If you had people coming over every week, twice a week, 3 times a week doing competitions instead of online, it would make more sense for you to have more machines. And same with Michael B and
Absolutely.
other people. But I
Absolutely.
wouldn't even have the machines that I have if I didn't have people coming over.
And I think again that's the allure of it, and I think it's we get lost and caught up a lot of it. You watch a video from like Third Home Arcade for Arcade with Jason,
Mhm.
or CC
Yeah.
Jason when he was still doing content, or Sosa or Michael B. You see everybody with these huge rooms and these diverse cabinets, and you're just kind of like, I could emulate something like that, And so then it gets to the point where you start getting them, and then you're wiping dust off of some of these cabinets because, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
they're not getting used.
Mhm.
Again, it's not one of those situations where everybody's coming over every weekend. There's a dedicated
Mhm.
night, and
Yeah,
everybody's
right.
getting to play. Competition aside, just fun factor alone.
And
And
that's
so-
really
Mhm.
cool though. I mean, like, because and just to bounce off what you're saying, Mike, like you have some of these guys who have these big collections, and it's just what they do. They really like it, and they have fun with it.
Right.
Like the third floor, he'll occasionally like swap in and out cabinets or upgrade or whatever. But he's got this this layout, and it's just really cool to look at. So
Right.
he's having fun doing that. And even if whether you're another viewer, content, whatever creator going over there, it's really fun to look at his stuff. Like I'm always going over there and seeing if he has anything new, or how his layout's looking, because it's a really neat thing to see and to look at. So I think that sharing that is part of the hype there.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
people, Bill, what do you think about people even you're being very concise with what you're buying. You're not just going
Yes.
out and buying everything. And are you planning on having people over like to play in your room up there? Or
Oh,
what?
absolutely. It's the whole point of putting that together is to be able to have people over, have a hangout space, for people to play and do all that stuff. But it doesn't mean I'm going to buy. I don't want to buy cabs just to buy cabs.
Right.
Like
You don't
if I
want
have any-
shovelware cabs, right? Is that what you're saying? Kind of like what game collectors do with actual carts?
Yeah, no, I
Mm.
wouldn't necessarily call any of them shovelware, but there's ones that I'm more interested in.
Well, 6
than
different
others.
Pac-Mans that all have the same games. 5 of them got to be shovelware to somebody.
Well, this
Shovelware.
is yeah.
I'm being real here. Like there's,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to buy 6 Pac-Mans. You're not.
No, I'm gonna buy one, and that's it. I want a Pac-Man. The deluxes that they've shown now look good to me. I like the way that they look with the tilted monitor and the fact that they look a little more like the real arcade machine.
Mhm.
That's the one I'm probably going to wind up getting. Right now, the main one of the deluxes that I'm interested in is Class of '81 because I remember that machine. I'm a huge Galaga fan. The Galaxy and
Yeah.
Galaga games are some of my favorites. That's got 3 of the 4 on it. I wish it had the GOT Plus, but at least it's got the 3 games on it. So that's one that is going to go in my collection. I'm not going to get, but I'm sure there's going to be other stuff that comes out this year that I'm going to have zero interest in. Just like I didn't pick up
Right.
every single one that came out last year.
Here's another thing too, though, that I think is kind of important about as far
Before
as
you
your,
do
like,
that, I have a special announcement for you. It's very important that I read this to you from Adam. I have to read it to you.
Oh no.
Before you go on with your point here, Adam says, please message Jayde to please take some NyQuil tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
He's concerned. Listen, he's concerned for your health, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your concern, Adam.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I mean, but here's something else that's interesting. Like, out of all, so they'll have, like, how many Pac-Man cabs do they have now? I don't know,
I
like,
don't
that you
even
could
know.
choose from at the moment. Probably like 4 or 5, maybe, right?
Something
I
like
think
that. Yeah.
another important thing that's kind of in our realm is that if you have the experience, like, share your opinions on that. Like, of course, you're gonna have the people who are just gonna say, like, oh, they're all garbage, but that's not true. I think that Class of '81 and the Cocktail 40th anniversary Miss Pac-Man are the 2 best ones that you could possibly choose out of their collection, because of the emulation and just the form factor. Like, I wouldn't buy any of their other personally. I wouldn't buy any of their other Pac-Man cabs because I've seen that there's different emulation on some of the other ones and they don't run as well. So, I think that those are, like, important things for people who are looking, because people go to YouTube constantly to see what other people's opinions are on things or what their experience is like. And that's why I think it is important for us to kind of, still peek in from time to time and talk about things like that, because we've all kind of gone through that whole thing and have experience there. And I think that there's always going to be, look, the Fast and Furious coming out, it that piques my interest, because I want to be able to look at it and say, like, how is this ported over? Like, how is it comparing to the arcade version? I'm just curious, and I think that that's a cool one. That's especially a cool one. But like the standard stuff, I'm not going to go out of my way to buy a Pac-Man or something like that. Like, that's where narrowing your collection down and experiences.
Somebody
is
put a
that?
I don't know. Somebody put a comment in the chat room and asked about, I mean, these boards aren't going to last forever. Now, I have a lot of Gen 1 cabs. Moat, do you have any Gen 1 cabs?
I sold all my Gen 1
Okay.
cabs.
I was just
They
curious.
were so pristine.
Yeah,
they
mine
were
are
so
still
pristine.
running. I have, like, you can see them
Yeah.
along the back wall there in the cabinet. But I think people need to get back to, forget what the other content creators are doing. They're doing it for their own reasons, that they're getting rid of this stuff, whether they're tired of it or they're downsizing because they have, family things that they have to do. Why did you buy them in the first place? I guess that's what I'm
Right.
getting at. Like, did you get them
Yeah.
for the nostalgia of playing these games? I know I did. And
Oh, no,
so
definitely.
the only
Yep.
game I regret getting was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because it's Jayde's fault that she told me to get it. But no, in all seriousness, we literally, like, if every Saturday now, people have asked us to do this game night live stream, and it's just you interacting with us, but we're just playing games. There's nothing going on. Like, you get to see some of the nonsense that goes on, the shenanigans, if you will.
Right. And
That's why we do it.
And I think a lot of people forget that. I guess us as content creators, we get swept up on what's new, what's next, what are they improving on. But the casual individual, they just want to play the game. They walk in a store or go online or something, and they see something that, like, they're nostalgic for, and they're like, oh man, I remember doing this in XYZ. I remember playing Pac-Man here. I remember playing, Mortal Kombat here or whatever else, right? And it's just one of those things that for us, we're nitpicky. We're like the vocal
Yep.
minority. I always say it. But for the casual person, for them, this is a dream, you know. And again, we didn't all buy this. It was like, oh, we're gonna buy this and we're gonna make a video.
Right.
You know, we bought them because it's like, dude, this is great. You know, like for me, it was awesome walking in and just like, yeah, it's kind of small, no riser at the time, but buying my first gen, I was like, I can put a chair at this, and it's not really a handicap, but we can get busy on it, you know. And it's, I think people forget that feeling of it, and I think that's something if they go back and reflect and remember, hey, this is why we're here, and this is why we got here in the first place. That a lot of people's opinions will change. Honestly, don't even bother trying to keep up with other people who have these huge arcades unless you have a huge basement and you have all this stuff to do, you know, like, because what's the point of owning 30, 40 arcade cabinets if you're the only person enjoying? Arcades were meant for everybody to enjoy them, you know what I'm saying, together as a community, whether it be a group of friends or whatever else, right? So I think that's something that everybody should try to remember, at least a little bit.
No, 100%.
Absolutely.
Jade, do you want to read this before we get to? I want to get to Brad's comment about nobody getting rid of the iArcade, because that's not true. Not that I'm going to poo-poo on it, but that's going to be the next cabinet that'll probably end up at the church when I get the Fast and the Furious. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, that's because there's only one model and they don't have the.
Well, nobody will buy it.
Oh,
I've had it. I've had it out.
That's because there's only two models that do exactly the same thing, and they don't have the ingenuity to like go with something new or different.
I've had it on sale for 3 months.
$19.99 super chat from Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Thank you so much, Ezekiel. He says, "Hello, everyone. I know Arcade1up PCBs won't last forever, but I've already decided that I'm going to have to scroll up. That I'm going to make my own custom arcades using the Arcade1up design size because I like it, and that works for my lifestyle. And I honestly like the riser." Yeah. And that, you know, it's funny thing like that. I've kind of grown accustomed to the risers. They just don't bother me really. I mean, especially that, you know, because now they just come with all the artwork meshed on them. In the beginning, it was different when you got a riser and it didn't have matching artwork. You'd have to go get the artwork and stuff like that.
Let me quick before you get to your next thought, put a plug in here for my buddy Brandon over at Game Junction. If you guys are into console gaming, he has a podcast. He does a lot of content. Like, he literally sits there. He does game playthroughs, kind of like what Jade used to do, and then Jade starts slacking and doesn't do it anymore, and then you know how that goes. And she's she's sitting there giving me the eye. If you guys can see, go over there, and he's really pumping out content. He's going to be at some different conventions coming up here too, him and his team. And so, like, if you are into console gaming, get over there and give them a subscription over on YouTube and then also on Facebook. I was on one of their podcasts, I want to say it was a couple months ago. A great group of people. Had a lot of fun. Jade, do you want to go back to your thoughts on the iArcade? I lost Brad's comment.
Is that what I was talking about?
Yep, 100%.
Well, first of all, when I first got my WiiU, I got the SF2CE one. And, you know, it was a total toy. It was like, I think I got it for $200, and I was like, oh, this is cute, you know? And I got a riser for it for like $50 or something. And I was like, this is a neat little thing, you know? And my kids thought it was cool. And then I was like, oh, but this game, oof, the emulation and the screen is just really crappy. I was like, but it would be cool if it came with the riser and like had a coin door and a better screen and the controls were better. You know, so that's like more of what we're getting now. It's more serious. I started taking Arcade1up seriously when they came out with MVC1 and that cabinet. I mean, I still think that's a really cool cabinet. But as far as iArcade goes, you know, that's a very specific platform that, you know, again, it's a consoleized arcade platform. It's not what is it?
That might not
representative.
It might not be Papa Brad. There's a fake account, I guess, floating around. Jay Cuts is saying in the chat room.
Yeah, there are fake accounts going around.
I apologize, Brad, if that was, you know, if that wasn't you.
So I mean,
but you have multiple multi-cades, right?
Regardless, though, huh?
You have multiple multi-cades. What do you need an iArcade for? And that's kind of, I think, where we're all at.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing though. For the price of an iArcade, unless you want like the specific indie games that they have on there to be able to play on that exact platform, it's like, I mean, I don't know.
Listen,
I would rather pay.
You know what I'm
Huh?
gonna say? You wanted that kart game that was on there. You know it.
What, the
Beach Buggy Racing 1 and 2 was Jade's
I'm gonna buy an
But you could have bought that on PS4.
iArcade
though,
Beach
so-
Buggy Edition and launch it into
Don't tell her.
your arcade.
Jade hates that game. That's why I always bring it up. She hates that game. The only game I play on it is Retromania Wrestling, and then like
Facts.
if you watch that 4.5 hours, not one person went to that iArcade. Not one. And that's normal. Everybody goes to the ACK games or the pinballs. And some of the kids, they don't know like the older games. So I kind of expect that. Like Space Invaders, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to play that. Like it's just a little beep, beep, you know. I don't expect that. But I have that because some game nights, like you guys would appreciate it. But some game nights we have some of the elders that come, they're 60, 70 years old, and they're like, Centipede, I remember I was a teenager playing this, and you know, or so it's just one of those things. Like I played that, and these young kids that are 15, 16 that are here, they're just like, yeah, no. And you would think they'd want to play the iArcade with like Beach Buggy Racing and some of these other ones, but they have no interest.
Yeah, I mean, there's just at the end of the day, it's neat. It's a neat little thing, but there's I don't know. I just don't take it seriously for some reason. Like I just think that you have better options. If you want a multicade, you literally have a million better options that you could spend just as much, if not maybe $300-400 more, and be using Steam, you know, running Dreamcast, Naomi, and all these other high-end games on Fightcade, on a multicade. Like there is no purpose to the iArcade. It does nothing that you can't do on something else.
And if you're low on space, I mean, Bill, for the longest time, you literally only had 2 cabinets because that's all you could fit in your space. Go get an ACK Games. I think Damien Deal with it said it in here in the chat room. I pulled it up a little bit ago. He's like, ACK Games with coin ops, which is how I run it, and that's it. If you don't have the space and you don't have people coming over, I don't know why you'd be going out and buying all these Arcade1ups. Just to be quite honest.
No, it's listen. If all you want is a machine that you could just play any game you want on, ACK Games is 100% the way to go. If you just, you know, like I said, you got a little home office. You want to throw a machine in it and play once in a while. Absolutely, go for like an ACK Games, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, and then Delo's saying, you know, that iArcade has an accessibility feature, which is key for his son.
Yeah,
and
for special needs. Yep.
I mean, that's a good reason. Like, that's completely understandable, you know. And again, this is one of those things that really just comes down to personal preference. I'm speaking about my personal preference and my reasoning behind why I didn't keep my iArcade and why, for me, it made more sense to do that. And you know, maybe that's like one of the things that actually adds value to it for when you're when you have a situation like a lifestyle situation like that. So that's completely understandable. But I mean, outside of that, I'm just saying from a monetary point of view, in my opinion, from my experience, that I would go that route over an iArcade.
So
yeah, honestly, if that thing wasn't $250, it would not be.
No, you're right.
Honestly,
yeah, it's overpriced as it is. So Mo, talk us through, because I didn't get to watch this video. So talk us a little bit about what's going on here for this second part of this Arcade1up news here. What's going on with this?
So for anybody who doesn't know, this is Garage Gamer. You know, he makes content, makes video game content, and makes some home arcade content. He updated via Wi-Fi last night his Terminator 2, and apparently the update has borked his machine. Now, this is the only instance I've seen it. I've watched the whole video. I don't know if anybody else has had it, but this is his experience. I don't know, maybe the internet could have cut off on the Wi-Fi, but that still shouldn't be something that is shorting out the board or things of that nature. It just kind of sucks. He's probably gonna have to go through A1up and go get a new PCB. But again, you know, this is one of those things that, you know, I guess this is where people argue, well, I don't understand what the update for a T2 would be. I don't own one. I don't know if it was like a latency patch or something like that in nature. I can't speak to that, but apparently this is what happened after the update last night. And it's not the only cabinet got updated. NBA Jam got updated. A couple other cabs, Dig Dug's got updated. I think another cabinet got updated as well. So I'm not saying buyer beware, but at least for T2.
So Matt Astra says his Terminator updated fine. So that was what you said, Jade. That maybe.
Yeah. So did Zero Redo. He said
Zero Redux. Yeah.
Yep.
And so the update's not even fixing stuff people want. No audio fix, leaderboard stuff. Yeah. So I mean, again,
a lot of people. Sorry, Mo.
No, you're good.
What I was hearing, like some people say in some of the boards and whatever, is they think that some of these are getting leaderboard updates, and a lot of it has to do with the app coming out.
Oh, that little icon that they put on the Dig Dug cabinet. I saw that. It shows you what platform they're on or what machine that they're on.
Oh, that might have to do with their phone app.
That makes sense.
That's probably what this was getting, that update for it.
Yeah, so it may not be any kind of fix or anything, but something that's going to tie into whatever the app is that comes out.
I would say that's a good sign too, though, because if they're doing that and they're linking cabs to be able to use the app and add leaderboards to it, I feel like that means that ultimately, like, they're saying like, hey, we're still going to be supporting these cabs, whether or not they're doing like.
We're not showing this to say like he did something stupid, but we're just kind of like trying to put it out there for you guys. To see if anybody else had this problem with it. But I seen MG. MG says it looks like a hardware power issue, and I kind of agree with him on this because the marquee it's almost like it's shutting the machine off, and I don't think an update would do that.
Right.
Am I wrong in this? I mean,
No, it just wouldn't power. Literally, it just wouldn't power.
It's got to be an isolated incident.
If I could turn my Terminator 2 cabinet on right now because it's all connected to smart system, I would walk over there and do it right now live to see what would happen.
Oh, he's in the chat. Have you ever had Garage Gamer? Have you ever had any hardware issues, or has this cab ever done anything weird prior to you updating?
Because I got to be honest, I'm nervous right now. I ain't gonna lie, man. I am not gonna lie.
I mean, the thing is, they're gonna send you. Yeah, they're gonna send you a new PCB though. Like, just hit them up and say. This I did the update and this happened. I mean, they're just going to send you a PCB.
Behind his video, you could see there the light on the board is lit red. That shouldn't be lit red like that all the time.
I thought that's normal.
Is
Blitz,
that normal?
On Blitz, the light's red. Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't watched T2, but the other ones don't light up like that. Yeah. Okay. But is the fan? It looks like the fan's going.
Yeah, fan's moving. It's just again, it might just be. It might be just a power draw thing or something. That would make a lot more sense. But again, hey, another PCB, and one day maybe if you unplug it and you plug it back in, then you got two PCBs, and then you can.
Yeah, I mean, just get a new one. We got a super chat.
All right, let me see if I can pull. Let me see if I can pull.
Fanboy with a K.
All right, I got to pull up here.
I wonder if he tried to hard reset it. I wonder that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We'll go to that after this super chat here. Let me pull it up. Go ahead.
So $9.99. From Console Fanboy, thank you. And a question for anyone: if you have an at-games, what would be the appeal of an iArcade if they are both multicades and at-games actually has everything through CoinOps X? Well, I mean, it really comes down to personal preference, but you're going to get like those indie devved games, a lot of those kind of different style games that
for now,
the iArcade has, that that games doesn't. But it really is more about what your appeal is. I mean, CoinOps X to me is way more appealing than anything that.
And Garage Gamer, can I suggest something real quick? Go in and check your ground. Unplug all your cables from the PCB and plug them all back in. And I know you didn't do anything with it except for the firmware, but sometimes, like Moat just said a little bit ago about hard resetting it, I would do that. I'd disconnect all my cables, undo the ground, and then replug everything back in and see what happens.
Yeah. But as far as like the argument with ad games and iArcade, you used to be able to say, well, you could download indie games and stuff and it plays stronger hardware. But you're not going to be able to say that towards the summer now because the 4K boards are coming out and the new the Legends Ultimate 4K is coming out, which will be able to handle the tougher emulation. So then when you get to that point, it really does become what's the general purpose now of having an iArcade? Unless you're like a hardcore collector, unless you just you firmly believe in the platform since it's been out since the Kickstarter. I
Yeah.
genuinely don't know.
I
the
think
reason to
it's a
have one.
very niche
Yeah.
platform. The
Right.
Arcade is. It's a very niche platform, and you know, it's if it serves its purpose for you, then it serves its purpose for you. If not, it
Yeah.
doesn't. You know, in my collection personally, it doesn't serve a purpose. But I mean, for people like Dello, it does serve a purpose, and so
It serves
it's you know.
And that's what we're not hating on the Arcade.
No,
I
of course
think
not.
I think there's certain people, like I said, I know the kids at the church. If I get the Fast and Furious and I take that to the church, they will have a ball with it because there's multiple games on it.
Mhm.
They don't have to wait for their friends to get done on the other ones. I mean, they play on the at games. They will play Marvel vs. Capcom 1, and then they play this robot one. I forget what it is, but it almost like they're like battle bots. They sit there and fight each other with these big monster.
Cyberbots.
Yeah, it might be Cyberbots.
Wait.
Mhm.
Let me do my impression of Steven. When people come over to my house to play in the arcade,
Here we
no
go.
one plays the arcade. It just sits there like a desolate tumbleweed.
Correct.
It's
Two seconds later, I think if I take it to the church, kids will have a ball.
Well, the
with
little
it.
kids
They're
would,
gonna
yeah, because you
love
got to
it.
realize the kids that would play it are like the 5 and 6 year olds. We don't
Cut
have
to
them down
Steven's
in
church.
there.
There's the arcade and there's like tumbleweeds passing.
Hey,
by.
they play
It's
Galaga,
a
which I'm
placeholder.
surprised.
It's a
Oh, boy.
placeholder.
It's a placeholder.
That's what. Yeah, they're placeholder cabinets. For instance,
Yeah.
that's a placeholder. The day that DDR or Guitar Hero or something comes out, yeah, you're getting.
They play
donated or something.
Pac-Man and they have no idea. They don't know. They don't know what Pac-Man is. They just know if they. It's easy for the real little kids. They can go up there, which is why Galaga's there, right? You only need one button and you can move left and right. That's it. Like for the real, we have some 3 and 2 year olds that'll sit there. We put a stool there. They'll sit there and play it. So
it's a something for everyone cabinet. That's the way I guess I put it. Our arcade is something for everyone. You know, you just have to find the demographic that's ready to play it. That's part of the reason why it's probably marketed on Price is Right. That's not a dig. That's me being honest. You know, because some people don't want to take the time and learn how to flash to make a flash drive for CoinOps X on their ad games, Legends Ultimate,
Right,
or Little Game or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's whatever else. The beanie is in my merch store, exclamation merch in my channel, or go click on it. It supports the fighting game community. Yeah, so for me, that's what I personally think.
well, it's so. I wanted to pull that up there because he was saying that in the chat room. I don't know if he's. So Damien, deal with it. He says Dust Bunnies and iArcade are best friends. I think for some it is, but I think for a lot of us with content creators, I think it was one of those things like, how do you talk about it if you don't have it, right? I mean, let's just be fair. The guys that got it early, that we got it, whether we got it for review or we bought it. I mean, even Jayde, you went out and bought it, even bought it used, just so you could be like, okay, let me kick the tires on this. Let's just see if this is something worth keeping around. And you found that it really wasn't.
Well, especially when I got my ALU. I mean, that was
Right.
the turning point for me. Was I thought, okay, this is neat. You know, it's a cool little piece to have in your collection. But you know, there was things that were kind of aggravating, like emulation skipping, or like when you pause it and then go back into the game, it may have issues. But whatever, all that stuff aside, it was fun while I had it. But then I got the at games and I was like, oh, I don't need this. And that was just for me personally. And I still really like the at games, and it's the control panel and obviously CoinOps. I mean, it's just, it really has a nice appeal, especially for the price point. And just throw some vinyl wood grain on it and you're good to go.
So
I was with you until you said that.
yeah, I told her I'm not a fan of the
You
wood
guys
grain.
will love my vinyl.
I'm not a
wood
fan of the
grain.
wood
You will
grain,
love it.
but like, hey, if it works
Hey,
for
yo.
you, that's more power to you.
I had so many like mixed opinions on that. Like people, it was either like, oh man, wood grain, that's like great, that's so retro, and then it was like, Steven, I hate wood grain, I'll kill you.
Well, no, it's just my preference. Like, if you notice, my basement has the wood grain paneling. I've done everything I could to kind of cover up most of it with stuff.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's funny. Like, there was even a guy who commented, and he was like, I used to work on arcades, and he was like, I thought that wood grain went away with like Pac-Man. But he's like, he goes, but you did a good job, and I was like, oh, that's nice. But I'm just saying, like, some people just hate the wood grain
if
look
it
on
works for
arcades.
you, look at who am I to say? But listen, we've talked about us. We've talked about
The Lion King does not belong on the side art of any arcade machine. Sorry.
Switching gears here. We've talked about physical collecting and guys that are collecting consoles. Did you guys see the news this week that your Wii U could be bricked without you even knowing it? Just sitting in a box, that the NAND RAM could get corrupt.
Mhm.
Did they like explain this on technical terms though? Because the article I read wasn't like it wasn't very specific in pointing out the details of how it could actually occur.
They haven't said anything like that. They said that at least and I've checked mine. Mine
I feel like
works
that's
fine.
like a clickbait title.
Well, they just go on that, like, even if you didn't play it, but I think that's true for anything, right? If you have an old console, it could die. But apparently, if it doesn't have a backup of itself, which I don't make a NAND backup of anything,
No.
but they just go on to say the Wii U's been killing itself. The error is a NAND corruption that is reportedly unfixable unless the NAND backup isn't made before the console corrupts, as it suffers memory errors that practically brick the system. And on top of this, Nintendo isn't offering any kind of fixes on the console because it's no longer its flagship. So what I would tell everybody to do, go out and buy one, keep it alive, because when they all start dying, you're going to have gold sitting there.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
No, I mean, well, and here's the other thing too. I'm very paranoid about updating like my older consoles that still receive updates, and like the Wii U and 3DS, they're pretty much gonna stop support completely or whatever. Yep. And so I have not updated them. I mean, for years, because I'm like, I don't trust them. Like, what if they send me this update that ultimately is going to like burn out my CPU or something crazy like that? So it's Nintendo, you little devils.
All right, so let me see here. Bono's Tecmo says you can make a NAND backup now without having to soft mod it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a soft modded Wii U, you were golden. And if you happen to have a soft modded Wii, make sure that you turn it on once in a while, maybe with the full library and the full virtual. Oh, we're not supposed to do that. Okay. Yeah, no. Just turn it on and back it up. Yeah.
My Wii is soft modded. Well, it's it's hard modded.
My Wii and my Wii U is soft modded. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So you can soft mod a Wii U?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is it hard?
No, there's YouTube videos. Like, I leave mine on all the time. Like, it's not on, but it's plugged in and on its dock all the time on my.
You know what I hate about Wow, I just completely lost my train of thought.
And on that note,
this was probably all the people who have had their Wii U.
I'm in my 40s, by the way.
Yo, Cleveland.
No way, you're like 23. Stop it.
Cleveland Gaming Classic in the chat room. If you guys, a bunch of us are going out to that, coming up here in September, the 22nd through the 24th. If you haven't,
I remembered. Well,
just wait a second. If you haven't, get your tickets now, Jade. Get your tickets and come on out and hang with us. I'm going to be streaming this live, so if you can't make it, Jade, you could still watch it online. Go ahead, Jade. Go ahead. And another. Oh.
Okay. So Wii U. The one thing I always hated about the Wii U though was that it was supposed to be backwards compatible with Wii games, and I thought it was supposed to like upscale them technically, but it looks more like it downscales them. So I have to keep my Wii, which obviously also plays GameCube games, because my games actually look better on the original Wii using an HDMI out.
Do you know how you fix that? Soft mod your Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? 100%.
Can you upscale the
I do
game?
that with my Dreamcast. My Dreamcast
Yeah,
runs at 1080p.
Yeah, and you can do all kinds of stuff like play GameCube games on it and et cetera, et cetera. All kinds
Like
of nice things you can do.
Wow, I didn't know that you could actually play GameCube games on there.
Yep.
I never got into soft modding my Wii U because I only kind of bought it because, you know, I had a Wii, so I was like, oh, I mean, I just want the Wii U for some of the newer games and stuff. And then I ended up just keeping it because by the time I got it, it was like after the craze and they'd already stopped making them. So I was like, oh, I should keep this. It was very, very small run.
So
it was a Switch prototype, so you know.
What about you, Bill? Did you have the Wii U, or do you have the? I mean, just about everybody had a Wii, I think.
Yeah, no, I had a Wii. Never soft modded it or anything like that. It was just, you know, standard. We originally got it basically from my daughter, but we all liked playing it. I never went, like I said, I never went for the Wii U. By the time I thought maybe was when they announced the Switch, and then we went for that instead.
Yeah, I went for the Wii U. I bought it, sold it, then bought it again like a dummy. And I used to sit there and go, man, this is what Nintendo should do, but make it so you can take the handheld elsewhere. Like I have old videos where I'm talking out how the Switch is, and then they went and put out a Switch. I'm not saying I thought I said that, but what my point was, you can't tell me everybody that got a hold of the Wii U didn't sit there and describe the Switch. Where did Nintendo go wrong?
They made it so the tablet was tethered to the console. Had the tablet not be tethered to the console, it would have been, you know.
But when they were developing it, when they were developing it, why did they think
it without having it, you know, to be within a certain range or whatever?
But when you're developing it, when you're testing it, why wouldn't you sit there and go, maybe we should untether this from the console?
Because they're Nintendo, and because remember when the Wii was first announced, remember the idea was so that they would start selling gamepads separately, so you could have two gamepads connect to the console, and that people could play off screen and whatever else. It was supposed to be this whole big home entertainment experience, you know.
Yeah,
they were trying to really capitalize off all the grandparents and whatnot who bought Wii's just to play bowling. My mom wanted to play bowling, she wanted to play video games. You know what I mean? So
hardware limitations.
No, because one of the first mods for the Wii, people modded their gamepad so that it could be portable. So the tech was there. Like if you went to there's videos of people at E3 standing in line at the Nintendo booth, literally playing on their modded gamepads. You know what I mean? So and I'm sure somebody at Nintendo was like, "Huh, we should do that." Charge $299. So
I'm with Damien though. I still play my Vita too.
Vita's a really good. I made a video. This was like before I was on YouTube, but I did a TikTok where I was like, if you're a gamer, you need to go buy a PS Vita right now. And I don't know what their availability. I feel like it's still good, especially if you get them from overseas. But I mean, you can get a Vita for so cheap, like in the box still. I mean, and when I say cheap, you know, right around $100 to $140 is what it was. And there's such great little consoles, whether it's for the games, the backwards compatibility, and still having access to the store, which I don't know if they've disconnected that yet or not. And the fact that you can mod them and play games on them. There's so many good reasons to buy one.
Oh, Vita's disconnected. I was thinking 3DS and stuff. That's a couple days.
Yeah, no, they did try to disconnect. Yeah, they tried to disconnect the Vita store, and then the public got in an uproar. Why are you taking it away from me? We don't use it, but we need it. And then Sony was like, "All right, there you go."
PS3 and Vita. It's still working on there. Right?
They're still making games for the Vita too. Like not Sony, but independent developers. There's a whole I'm in one of the communities. So I mean, it's pretty neat. It's still a good console, and I think it falls into the same category that the Dreamcast did. People just didn't know how to react to it. I honestly, I think Sony did a terrible job marketing. We did that on a make or break. Go back and watch that episode, so we don't have to hash this out again. But Bill, you have a retro game spotlight. Why don't you give everybody a preface of what it is?
Well, it is a look at okay, so there's been a bunch of Metroid games that have come out recently, with Metroid Prime, Metroid Fusion launched today on Switch. This is a look at one that hasn't gotten a relaunch yet, but maybe it should.
Retro Gaming Spotlight.
Metroid Fusion has been added to the Switch through the online expansion pack. And while it's a great game that I can't wait to relive, today I want to shine the spotlight on a different game, Metroid Zero Mission. Metroid Zero Mission was originally released for the Game Boy Advance in February of 2004. The game retells the story of the original NES Metroid game, but adds a whole new chapter to the story once you've beaten Mother Brain. The game features updated graphics from the original and adds in some mini cutscenes to flesh out the story. There are also some quality of life improvements, such as the ability to shoot diagonally and an on-screen map to help you find your way. I've been playing this game over the last week on my Anbernic RG35XX, which I'll have a review for coming soon. And I've been enjoying it immensely. With the inclusion of Metroid Fusion and the Game Boy game Metroid 2 for the Switch Online service, I really hope this game gets added as well in the future. It's a great game that deserves to be revisited if you've played it before, or enjoyed for the first time if you've never played it. Add to this the fact that Nintendo also recently released the Metroid Prime remake, and it's a great time to be a Metroid fan, despite the issues with physical copy availability. But let's turn it back to you. Do you have a favorite Metroid game you'd like to see get re-released? Or one that has been released that you've been playing? Let us know in the chat. And now, more game time.
Doing that for any of the
Right.
yeah, they're not doing that for any of the Switch online games. You're not going to get a physical copy. You have to have the expansion pack for it. But yeah, like I said, Metroid Prime has come out. Metroid Fusion's come out. This is, I think, the one game that they haven't re-released yet. Because I mean, you can play the original Metroid, you can play Super Metroid, you can play Metroid 2. So I think Zero Mission's the only one that they haven't released. And now that they have access to Game Boy Advance games, I'm hoping at some point in the future they add that one, because it's a lot of fun, and it would just, I know it's basically a remake of the first game, but it's a better version of the first game. So,
And that's something.
You know what? There's a really, really good place where you can get and play that game as well, and it's called the RG35.
Well, that's what
X,
what I said. That's how I was playing it.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
know.
about that?
What? How do I know about the RG?
Yeah, how do you know about that?
Yo, I brought the RG35. What was it? 351.
She was shilling it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
Before
Yeah,
you
no,
joined us.
Well, so I got that one, and then the 353V I think came out right after that, and then I ended up ordering one of those, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing! Like the 353V is just so awesome.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to MG in the chat room. He sent me an email this week, and he was like, yo, if you hurry up on Amazon, Metroid Prime Remastered, so if you guys are still looking, I think there was still some copies up there that you can get, $39.99. Don't pay that $60, $70 markup that these clowns are putting up there. I ordered it 2 days ago and got it with Prime. It's here. It's not open because I literally got it right before the show. But go get yourself the copy. But I'll tell you, that is going to be on my agenda this weekend, and this game is something I can't keep. I can't put it down. I like the first one that came out, but Kirby's Return to Dreamland. This was good on the other console, but it's better here. I like it. The GameCube version just was like, compared to this, it's like. So go get it.
It was really,
I like it.
really cool that nobody's kind of talked about, though, Metroid wise, is Prime Hunters when the DS first came out. And I also thought it was really cool that they had a demo cart of that game because, at that time they were really phasing out consoles coming with demo discs and games in general. So to have a demo cart was like a really kind of a neat little thing. But Prime Hunters is actually pretty cool.
MG, he's back to harassing me. You see this comment? You see this? See this guy? He's like, you just put it down. All right, MG.
Oh,
I
boy.
got you. Bill, you brought this to my attention. This might be of interest to Jayde
Yeah,
as well
that's
as
what I was thinking.
Moat. Talk to us a little bit about this Kickstarter with the new Neo Geo.
Yeah, so I saw this, and I'm not 100% on exactly how this works, but it's basically and Jade and probably Moat too probably know more about how like the MVS and all works, but it's like it's two pieces, right? You've got the slot for the cartridge, and then you've got the interface, or I guess what they call the super gun, that connects the two together so it can play the games. This is basically a housing for a super gun, and if you have an MVS slot and the cartridges, you just put it in, and it's basically you're making your own Neo Geo console with it. So I saw this come up on Kickstarter, and I thought it was something kind of unique and interesting, and maybe worth bringing to people's attention.
So is it just the authentic Neo Geo games, or is it going to work with multi-carts as well, or do they say that?
I don't know.
Any MVS slot, like a native MVS slot, is going to work with a multi-cart that's made for MVS. It's just whether or not it's AES or MVS.
Yes, right.
But I mean, like, multi-carts aren't expensive, so I think the whole purpose here is that how much is this thing going to cost?
310
that's not bad.
USD. That's actually not
can
bad.
You can get these
Yeah,
things consoleized off of Ali, whatever it is.
Alibaba?
AliExpress.
Yeah, AliExpress.
Oh.
I mean, you can get these things consoleized off of there for about $400 or $500. So it's kind of like, if you're going to
But
spend
that's
that
original
much and then have
hardware,
to buy the board and the carts and stuff, it's like, well, I mean, it's neat though. Like the idea behind what it's doing is kind of cool. But I mean, I don't know. It's like you might as well just get an AES system or something if that's the case, and then just get a multi-cart. I feel like that's too expensive.
I'm gonna pull up the Kickstarter.
Maybe
here.
I'm not like in the. I'd be interested to get like Scarlet Sprite's opinion on that, because he's like knows everything about Neo Geo.
They got a lot of backers, almost 30 grand in backers, 67 backers, 25 days
yeah, I
ago.
mean, it's an interesting idea. It's just like, but for the price point and everything, it's kind
Let's watch the video and see. You're not going to hear it, but looks like it comes with some controllers.
Is he speaking French?
Yeah,
he's speaking French.
I don't know, but it looks like it comes with.
I think I watched the video. He's speaking English. I don't know, but there's French
subtitles. Okay.
Oh wait, is that TV thing a part of it, or
no? I think he just said that there. This looks like almost like a Glenn's build a kit thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like the idea is cool. It's just I don't know. Like the price point seems like way out of range unless it comes with the board. If it comes with the board, then that price point makes more sense.
Well, it would have to come with the board.
Yeah, it has to come with it.
Yeah, it has to come with the board. Otherwise, it'd be
So
just
you're
a
talking
shell.
about the single slot.
Yeah, it comes with that board that's there. It's not just
comes
the
with
plastic.
The single slot board.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, if it comes with a single slot board, then that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's basically like a newer console of the Neo Geo. That's what it's looking like to me.
Mm-hmm.
A modernized.
It's just a way. It's a way to allow you to play it on a modern setup.
Correct.
Right.
Easily. Okay, then if it comes with the actual single slot board,
yes,
that's pretty good. But then you still have to buy.
Oh, you got to buy the games, which are like $200-$300.
And the controllers, right?
Yeah.
And the games are still expensive. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I think Neo Geo AES games were like I don't know, 150 or 250 bucks.
250,
a pop.
yeah, 250.
Yeah, 250. Yeah. And that was for the home console, So yeah, I don't.
And that's why I asked about multi-carts working with it, because the games are so expensive
Mhm.
and because they're like
Yeah.
huge AF. So
Now, here's another thing too. Like if that is like a third party board that they're using in there, I would also wonder if the multi-carts would work correctly with it, because those things are kind of Frankenstein.
right.
And even
Mm.
on the actual MVS systems, if you plug them in and there's other games in the slots, sometimes it can like reset the system randomly. But if it's like in the single slot by itself, it's usually fine. So
Yeah.
it'd be
I wonder
interesting. That's very interesting.
I wonder if they have that answered in the frequently asked questions section of that Kickstarter. And then also, as far as the subtitles go, do you speak French if you don't say omelette du fromage? Like, I didn't read that in the subtitles at all. So, I mean, I'm a little offended.
Yeah, I've got there's some games that are like really hard to come by, like MVS and AES, and they're expensive. Like if you're looking for certain ones, like Metal Slug 1 through 5, you would think all of them maybe are going to be in the same price range, but really like Metals 4 and 5 are actually pretty hard to come by, and they're very pricey.
Yeah, you
Like
still
for a loose cart, I think you're looking
Yeah.
at like 400 to 500 for MS5, and then if you have like the complete boxed thing, I mean, 800 to 1,000.
you,
Wow.
you still have to buy the games. I think that's the hardest
Yeah.
part I have with this.
I mean,
because
you can get a multi cart for 150 bucks.
you
though.
can, but I mean, like if you want the actual game, because you're already playing essentially on emulated hardware.
It is it's the actual game.
Was it the
It's just
well, no, the hardware. If you buy this device.
yeah, and if you use a multi cart in it, you're playing the actual game.
Oh yeah, you're playing the actual game. Yeah. But I meant like if you get a multi cart.
Yeah, a multi cart.
If you can find the ROMs and stuff and get it on there, because we all know how that
Oh,
goes.
you're talking about like an SD multi cart. Because look, there's like what is it, 161 and 1, which has like a ton of games. It has a ton of good
I
games.
heard Moat
on it.
has the ROMs for it.
I cannot confirm or deny that the ROMs may or may not be sitting on my desktop. Hey, listen. I'll be honest. That's why I asked. I'm like, wait, does it? Because if you look at it from a home console standpoint, yeah, that'd be great. One multi-cart SD or micro SD card slide in from like Chris or something like that. And
let me ask you guys
you're
something.
golden.
I have one from Chris for the TurboGrafx. Let me ask you something. What was the Neo Geo, the one that had the handheld that you put into the dock? Like, I actually have been looking for that complete in box. For
handheld that you put into
there's
dock?
a Neo Geo that goes into the actual. It looks like the original.
There was a Neo Geo Pocket.
Maybe that one. No. This looks like a Switch handheld for the Neo Geo. I'll see if I can pull it up. But it goes into what looks like the original Neo Geo base, and it comes with joysticks and everything.
Are you talking about that thing they used to sell on GameStop.com?
It was a GameStop exclusive for like a short. I can't think of what the name. Yeah, it was 200, but now it's like everybody's selling them for like 500-600 since COVID. But before that, I should have bought it for 300. Somebody had a complete in box. The only reason I didn't, and I was kind of taken back with it, was because you can't find the games, and they come on a little SD card that you put in there. If I had a way to do that, because some of the people are giving you, like, I don't know. Yes, the Neo. Thanks, console fanboy. Neo Geo Gold X is what it's called. Yes. So do you think that is worth buying if you're somebody that wants a Neo Geo? Because then you could play it on your TV, or you could take it in handheld form. Would that be a better buy than say what we put in here? Because the poll
is that an actual SNK product?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yes.
I'm looking at it, and it looks like it is a licensed product.
100%.
I just never.
You never seen that?
No, I have seen it, but like I never really paid attention to what it was.
It's cool.
And so what is because I'm looking at the handheld portion of it right now. Like, so you're saying you can play the games like it satellites it, or
it's just like the Wii U.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like it's almost like it's a mix between Wii U and Switch, where you can plug it in the dock and literally play it at home. Yeah.
So I'll pull it up.
It's so weird. Like I have because Neo Geo, to me, I only played it in the arcade. I never played it. Like I had a friend who had one, but I only played it like a couple times. And so to me, it's very arcadey, platformy. So
That's why they give you the
I've
sticks.
I've never really like thought of it as a home console, even though I wanted one when I was younger, you know. But it would be, I feel like especially if you have like the arcade machine, or if you can play it emulated like at home, it's like.
But you got to admit, it's genius the way they hook that handheld up. Did you see that? Like where
Yeah.
they flip it open and it like locks in.
Mhm.
If only this played the original games too. Like if the top actually was a working, that would make it pretty sweet. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
I've been debating getting this as for my Neo Geo collection, if you will. For
How much is it? Like $500?
usually like on Macari and some of these other ones, you can find them for like $500. If you're lucky, you can find a complete
and then you
box.
need to get a multi-cart because there's no way you're going to be able to,
Well,
unless
a lot of
you're
them come
like
with the
filthy
SD
rich,
cards.
afford.
No. They come with
getting-
SD cards. That's how you play it in the handheld.
Oh,
There's SD cards with the games. They only have like 25 games on it. If you're that was the reason I didn't buy it, because
okay.
They're
So
hard
it's
to
not
find.
an
A limited
actual
collection of games.
limited
it
collection
can't-
of games.
Can it play AES
Okay.
games?
It's whatever they brought out for it. There's special cartridges. Like you'd have to look it up on Macari or
I'm having
eBay.
like flashbacks. Like I remember this console. I don't really remember the handheld portion of it very much, but I remember because you're saying SD card, and I remember making the decision not to buy it for a specific reason. Like there was something about it that I found unappealing. It must have had to do with like the SD cards or something.
I'm trying to pull it up here and see if I can get it. Let's see. Let me go full screen here. So here's somebody has it for $476. Let's see what they include with it, because let's see if they have that cartridge. So it looks like it's complete in box. It's got the controller, the handheld.
But you can't.
They're showing the
Okay,
condition.
so you can't put cartridges in it. That's
No,
Dave,
there's the
Damien
card.
just said.
There's
There you
the
go.
SD
Yeah.
card.
I think that's why I didn't get it. That's why I
Yes.
didn't get it then. That was why, because I if I was going to buy an AES system, I wanted to be able to put cartridges in it.
So it comes with
Yeah, but
Ninja Masters, but then they also have a multi-cart that had what, like 25 games?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And for the price point that this launched at, Jade, you wouldn't have been able to get a cart with it for what it came.
It was
out with. They had
$200
the
when it
best way to do
launched.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, because you can buy like what's that, Stone Age Gamer? They have a multi-cart that uses SD cards, so you can play on the actual hardware.
But I'm sure
Um,
people have hacks for this because it's just a standard SD card that you're sticking in here. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm just not paying. I'm not paying
Sorry.
500. No, you're fine. I'm not paying $500 for it. I don't think
Yeah,
it's worth.
worst Jago says it's basically like Evercade Neo Geo Edition. It has cartridges with game collections on them, and the cartridges are SD cards. Yeah, see, that is why I didn't buy one, because that's not appealing to me, especially at that price point.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't buy it. I could have got it with mode. It was sealed, that extra SD card, and I thought, well, if I can find it, I can keep it. Yeah, I can keep it in the box and not open it. Damien Deal with it says people are making modded carts now these days with all these games on it. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have one of the Neo Geo, the mini arcades that you can hook to a TV, and you get the real controllers from the Neo Geo. I think they're like $70 on Amazon. That's what I use for all the Neo Geo. It's got just about every Neo Geo game on that I would play.
I was so disappointed with the the little mini arcade version, because I bought the controllers for it when it was on sale for
That's what I
Black
did.
Friday.
That's what I'm talking
And,
about. That's what I have hooked up.
And those controllers, they're really nice, but they're not like the clicky ones, like the actual Neo Geo game pads have like the click in them. And I'm like, dude, really? It's because it's so much of a different feeling when you have that kind of like feedback, I was sad about that.
Still good for like, what were they, $8 on sale?
Yeah, I mean, for what it was when they were on sale, like, I'm not going to complain, but I remember being disappointed about that.
So I put in the chat. I said, would you buy the Neo Geo Consoleize, the one that we showed on the Kickstarter? 66% said no, 33% said yes. So off topic, Shinobi Gaming says the Golden Tee 3D Arcade1up is $315. I'm assuming he's talking about the XL at Best Buy. So if anybody's looking for that, can you clarify that, Shinobi Gaming? I think that's the one I saw.
I'm pretty sure it's the XL. I've
The
seen
XL.
that off and on for a while now. It's been going for that price. If they actually, if they actually have them.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has to be in store because they won't
Right.
honor. Well, depending who you get in touch with, they won't honor the price. And yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly.
So Best Buy's not honoring it? Is that what you're saying?
So the way Best Buy's doing it is like my local Best Buy. I was in there. I was grabbing a Series S for my daughter's birthday, whatever else, right? And I saw the Golden Tee. They had the sticker for Golden Tee and T2. They didn't have any in stock, and I was like, "Oh, can we order this online?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can order online." So I'm starting to place the order. No, I was like, "They're like, oh, we can't price match because it has to be in stock." I said, "Well, can you ship it here and get it in stock?" They're, "No, we can't do that. Can we speak to the manager?" Manager's like, "Yeah, no, we can't do that." But apparently, there's some managers that are just pushing it through. So it all depends on you getting lucky. So
Oh, interesting.
I don't have the annoying nagging voice to do that because screw it. But hey, by all means, if you get lucky, you knock yourself out.
Jayde,
Mike, just put on like a blonde wig and go in there and like just Karen them to death, and they'll give you everything for free.
Listen, next time I'll just go in there and do not like FaceTime you and be like, "Hey, listen."
Yeah.
If anything, it's for the ambassador of women who's breaking down barriers and helping us all out in this scene. Like it's an Arcade1up. She's right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah,
do it for
Jayde,
the people.
break some barriers down. Read that super chat.
That's right.
Okay. You guys are assholes. I love you.
We try.
Okay, $9.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. Thank you, Zohar. And it says, Steven, not to derail the show, of course not. But if you wanted to, Arcade1up just released a cool video on their site starring Cyrus and Nicole. It's about the MK2 Deluxe. Pretty cool with a K.
Nice. I don't think it's derailing the show. It's just the fact that I don't think people want to watch it with no volume. So if it's on the site, I'll pull it up.
Mortal Kombat haters incoming.
Wait, where's the Mortal Kombat haters?
No,
where is it on the site?
It's just an
Zohar,
awkward joke.
let me pull this up. I don't see it on the site. I went to their YouTube. It's definitely not on their YouTube. So maybe I have to go
It's on the product page. I just
it's on the product
myself. Yeah, it's on the product
There's
page.
one handheld to rule them all, Bo, and that's the RG353B.
Go to the coming soon.
You mean even the RG35XX? Sorry.
No,
Since I just made a
RG353B.
No, RG35XX.
That's probably it right there.
Oh
Okay.
Yeah,
Considering I just made this video, I'm putting it over.
Yeah. I saw that. That was good. That was a good video.
Mo,
by the way.
that's the same one I have, and yes, there will be a video coming soon.
I'm doing a giveaway, by the way. RG351.
Wait, can we talk about Nicole? She looks scared to death in this video. Anybody
want to be there?
Watch this video. I just seen her. She like stood there. Look, she's just kind of standing there like.
Yeah, she's like, why am I here? Yeah.
She's
Wait,
like,
can we go back to
what is this? Is this a Mortal Kombat? What do you do with Mortal Kombat? I like Nicole. Let me just preface that. I like
Nicole's
Nicole.
Cool.
She's awesome.
I think it's maybe it's the outfit. Like maybe it's just the outfit.
Wait,
She's just
hold
like
on.
Cyrus. You're talking too much.
Let's pause this so that we can just zoom in on each of them and break down their character as a human being, and then
all right,
just
hang on a second.
let's do that.
All right.
So we're
and
deep
then
diving this now. Okay.
We're gonna deep dive it. So I have
Let's
to
just
do that.
because isn't that what we do around here?
We're gonna that's as close as I can get
crap
into
to death. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that the MK2 Deluxe actually looks pretty sweet. I mean, for what it is, what's the price point? Like $499?
I think so. Yeah.
That's what all the deluxe cabinets are supposed to be. We'll see.
Pretty good.
We'll see.
I mean, that's pretty good because Walmart's going to sell it for that, and then you get free shipping. So just don't buy direct.
Yeah, Jayde, don't buy direct. I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you tell me to buy direct. all the
MG,
time.
get him, MG.
All right, let me pull this back open because.
Actually, Console Fanboy might be onto something because in this video I'm listening to right now, Cyrus actually talks about the companion app that goes along with the thing.
See, he looks super stoked,
Yeah.
but if you look at her, she's just like, "What are we talking about? Why am I here? What is this Mortal Kombat you speak of?" Am I wrong? Wait, he's like,
It's like,
yes,
no,
this is awesome.
You remember that SNL bit with Chris Farley where he would be like interviewing stars
She's
and he'd be
talking.
like, you remember that scene where you like melted through the metal bars? And then the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, that was cool.
Wait. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to where she's talking. You know what she's saying right here, dude? Everybody loves the tuna.
No. Wait. Let me.
Wait. Go back. We're gonna go back.
No.
Cyrus
Wait,
is like, I hate
hold
the
on.
tuna. She's
I'm gonna
like,
kick your ass, Cyrus, in Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I had to pause because that's the part. She said, and I quote, my favorite game is Root Beer Tapper. Can I play that on this cabinet?
wait, let me back it up. Let me back it up, Mo.
right now.
Is that what she said? Let me back
Yes.
it up, Mo. Hang on, I'll
Yes,
back
I
it up.
literally just listened to it just to make sure.
All right, Mo. There we go. Let's see here. Go ahead, Mo. You're gonna be her this time when she comes up.
Oh no.
All right, he's
Do a
all
girly voice.
excited. He's
Do a
like,
girly voice.
I was constipated all week waiting for this, but you know what? Now I'm super excited. What do you think about this, Nicole? I think I need to take some Aflax after this, and then I got to go sit in the commode. What do you think? Tell me.
Oh my
Tell me, please. I can't keep touching this. Tell me.
God.
Tell me right now, please. I'm gonna get Zohar after you.
Oh my God! You know what? Shut up! I have that same problem, but let me tell you, Sonya is probably my favorite character.
I always knew. I
So-
knew Cyrus was a Sonya guy. I knew
I
it.
thought you said he was a simp. Oh my god.
A simp.
I thought he said simp.
No!
I swear. That's what I'm like, wait, what?
Come on, man.
That's
No,
such
so-
a
so
good
real-
game.
no,
That is
so-
such
so-
a
Oh,
good game.
no.
Seriously though, like just listening to it, it's actually a really nice like retro.
No, it's a good
like,
video.
like
we're just
video,
busting.
Yeah.
We're just
She
playing.
just looks so uncomfortable, man.
She really did know. I mean, she's going to work on some on screen presence. I think if that would be my collective. I mean, Cyrus
think
is just all bubbly.
That's like the kind of stuff that they need to be doing more of, though.
Agreed.
To reach out, especially to like the people who have been in it for a while. You know, like that's good.
Listen, we mean all good fun with this, but I just think as a video guy, I'm sitting there looking at their on presence and camera, and Cyrus has it, man. Like he is Mr. Presence, but she's just, you can tell she's really nervous, and if she
Hey,
sees
cut
us,
her some slack. Cut her some slack, Steven.
Right. And
I like
Hey, Mr.
Nicole.
Producer.
Listen,
Well,
I
you
like
Look at
Nicole.
me, producer. Look at
Okay,
you don't
but-
have
but-
enough light
but-
on your face.
in
That's
Nicole's
right.
defense, Cyrus had everything to talk about. Cyrus got to pitch the cabinet. He got to pull up his phone and pitch the app. You know what I mean? Like
That
he got to,
reminds
like,
me of
afterwards,
Legend
like,
Center with
She
P-Dubs.
had everything.
That brings back nightmares of Legend
Oh,
Center
boy.
with P-Dubs. P-Dubs having all the information that he purposely would withhold from me, just so he could be the one to deliver it, and then I sit there and look like a chump. Him and I, we went back and forth all the time
You
with
were
that.
you were
live.
not
You're live.
authorized.
I was not
Okay, you know you're
authorized.
live.
Yes,
You know you're live and you just said that, right?
that's all right. He knows it. We bust each other all the time. But that's why I hit him with a pie. If you go and watch, I think it was episode 6. I think it was episode 6. I hit him with a pie, because he did that. So Damien Deal with it has got a really good question. He says, "Where are the casino cades?" You know what? We haven't heard anything since CES about these casino cades. Has anybody heard anything about these?
I hope
Not
not.
the
I
CES,
hope
no.
that the casino cade just quietly goes into the darkness.
I think they're actually gonna go. They're gonna have to go back and rework it because it's a 10-inch tablet, and then people are trying to figure out why they need to pay $600 for a tablet and a frame.
Yeah,
So maybe they're going back to the drawing board and maybe doing something else with it.
Let's
But
hope,
who
because
knows?
that
Yeah.
I
We
can
no longer identify BOE monitors as BOE. We just call them crispy.
crispy monitors. So console fanboy, he said, I met Nicole in person. She rang up my Big Blue at the charity last year. She was super nice, and she speaks Russian like me. No, listen, I like her better than I liked Liv. I was not a Liv fan, but
I think
Nicole.
they were both.
Live on camera is different than live in the background. Like Liv is probably like one
Yeah.
of the coolest people in the world.
Yeah,
Good.
she's
No doubt.
super cool in person, but she's definitely different vibes on camera.
Yeah.
I've never met Nicole though, but she does like their social media stuff, right? I think I've talked to her a couple times. She's really sweet.
I think that they're doing the right thing. Either way, they're doing the right thing by putting out these videos. I think they need to do more of them and keep the community updated with all the new stuff. Like let's not redirect, because I could tell you what the haters and all the other people that are not drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, are going to say. They're going to be like, yo, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like, what's going on? Why are we not online yet? Why do we not have any information? Nobody's telling us anything. But now you're going to tout this cell phone app. That's what they're going to say, and let's be honest, rightfully so, right? And
it's not, dude. But the reality of the situation is they're not just going to stop production and marketing of all their stuff and be like, oh my God, Marvel versus Capcom 2. Oh,
why not?
I'm sorry. Oh,
wait a second. Why not? That's what this community wants. That's what the community wants.
No,
is it though?
That's what some people want to say.
Is it? Because I think the only people that are really asking for MVC2 online are the people that actually want to play MVC2 online.
Well, what about your community, Mo? Wait, Mo. What about your community? Because you do a lot of online tournaments, and I don't care if it ever gets online personally, and I've been very vocal about it.
I paid for an MVC2 cabinet. I was told that eventually I was told it was going to be online. So if it's supposed to be online, cool. Myself and my community, we have Fightcade, so we really don't care. Like, we play on Fightcade. It's just literally, it's like, honestly, and here's the reality of it. I'm actually worried about this thing going online, because if it's struggling to run MVC2 now, if it struggles to run online, that's going to be a disaster. And then we're all back to square one. And then that's a whole different argument. Then that's a bunch like the haters or whatever else, right? They're going to be like, oh, well, not only does the game not play, but now it doesn't play online correctly. And you people were the ones that sold it. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that. Honestly.
Wait a second. It'll give us 3 months of news to talk about when they put it online, and if it fails. It'll give us something to talk about for 3 months of shows.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why it's not online yet, though, because it needs to come out pristine. Like, this thing needs to come out and not flop at all. There needs to be a good gameplay experience. Now, especially since there's an app now, and again, I was listening to it, and they were talking about friends list and
I think the
leaderboards and things of that
potentiality
nature.
of the app is big. Like, there is big potentiality for the app right now.
Yep.
It's not going to be anything impressive or that's notable. I don't really think, personally, in my opinion, but I think that the potentiality of it, and this is one of the things that I kind of discussed with John on the interview that I had him on for, was where, they're going, and potentially there are some really cool things that they could do with that app.
Right.
But I think that right now, I think there's kind of a stigma, like, oh, they brought out this app that's stupid and it doesn't do anything really. But I think that it is a good thing. I mean, just it's like baby steps. Look, they're taking baby steps, and they're also like coming back from a pretty hard.
I disagree. I disagree, because
with what?
I disagree with what you're saying about the baby steps. As a guy that works in development, that's the wrong. You already have a negative stigmata about your company right now. You're already being drugged through the mud by the community. You're already overpromised and underdelivered. Now you're going to bring up a subpar app that, as far as I know, I can't send Moat a message and be like, hey, Moat, let's jump on, Big Blue, and let's deal with that.
But look at the way that they do things. It's a develop.
Yeah.
You go. I mean, it's a develop.
Just go, Mo. Just go. I'll just mute her.
No, ladies first. Ladies first. Go ahead. She's got it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No,
I apologize.
No, I'm sorry. I love you.
Breaking
All I was trying to say was just that, like, look at the way that they do things, though. Like, generally speaking, when they release things, I mean, and this is something like, it's an app, so think about how much development time they're going to get off people using it and the feedback that they're going to get from those people. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's kind of the reality of the situation. I mean, I'm sure that they're using it in that respect, like, as the wider the user base gets and the more people become aware of it, the more feedback that they're going to be getting, and the easier it'll be to make adjustments.
Yeah. And again, if you go back and you watch that video, and I think that's the real reason Console Fanboy sent it in there. If you start at about the 49-second mark, they do talk about being able to message friends on the app while you're away, and friends list and things of nature. So there's certain integrations that are in this app already, and depending on whoever's developing the app and what other features they're going to add down the road, it might be a good starting point. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I would love to see a preview build of it.
I mean, think about, I bet you there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to maybe even buy and download games depending on what platform you're using and stuff like that. I mean,
you mean buy games for cabinets? That'll never happen.
I think that eventually
John already said
they're going to have to come out with something for their legacy line that allows you to download games to it.
Same reason that they won't come out with parts for the and sell them, because they have to store them. They will not sell games that's not their market. John's already stated that. He's stated that numerous times in interviews we've had.
But he's stated things that have changed before.
They are not a multi-cade company.
Yeah,
they are not going to sell games.
And said that this isn't going to happen, or this is not possible, or this isn't possible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And technically, he can't say that they won't sell games because they sell games on the Infinity game table.
But that was designed. That's board games,
right? Which is true. But he's also said to be, and I remember this. on the interview because I was pushing this because it literally was after Max, Justin, and Matt did an episode of Triple KO, and I'm trying to remember what Chill and Chill episode it is. But I literally asked him. I was like, well, they talked about you guys getting the license for VC2, whatever else, right? So it had to be right after that. And I was like, what's the possibility of you guys like pushing this out and selling it? So. And he was like, literally he said anything is possible. So that stance kind of changed from no, we're not going to do it to maybe it's eventually possible. Yeah. And Jay might be right, where you might not be able to buy the games directly, but there might be something.
Do you want to know why I say that they can't? Look at all these guys that are adding games to the pinball machine, the Arcade1up pinball machine, and what's happening to those PCBAs when they're adding games to it? They overheat.
Oh yeah, of course.
So these chipsets,
that's a risk that you take when you're doing that. I mean, technically, Arcade1up machines are not made to be modded. Like they have specific parameters that they have to run within. As far as the hardware.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
So if you mod it, you're risking that.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to have games that you're going to buy unless they come out with a special cabinet to do that.
They would have to have
hardware that is made for that.
Right.
Then, then it's not going to be an issue at all. I mean,
I don't foresee it.
If you do, I don't know. It's easy enough if you do well, since we're talking about MVC2, if you do MVC2 and somebody wants to buy like the Street Fighter games and maybe put them on that cabinet, you know what I mean? Because that they're in that same infrastructure and that they're going to work on that board, they could do it. But then it's I agree with you in another way though that they're not going to do it because if they do that, it does kind of kill off their business model.
They make their money.
Bring up worse Jago's comment, please.
They make their money from selling cabinets with the artwork because it's all licensed. If they start giving you the ability to buy games, then now you're encroaching at games territory.
You're missing what I'm trying to convey here. And can you please bring up worse Jago's comment?
I was telling you before about the parts, before I bring up worse Jago's comment, that they weren't going to do it. And you're like, yes, they need to do it so they can make these Arcade1ups. I'm like, Jade, they will never do that. I'm telling you, because 3 years ago we interviewed John. They will never do it. They're never going to do it. From a monetary
point of view, their business model cannot stay exactly the same. And when you look at their legacy line of cabinets, and this is something that I talked to John about.
You're wrong. Their audience is the consumer. We are not the consumer.
Right.
We are the hardcore enthusiasts. You're not going to get a consumer to download games and put them on a machine. It's not going to happen. At Games fights this, and iArcade fights this.
Fight.
Well, I'm being real here. Like this is absolutely asinine because it's not correct. It's not correct.
Okay, but that's like your opinion, man.
From John D himself and from Scott Bacharach. So you tell me the CEO of the company doesn't know what he's talking about?
No, what I'm saying is that when I spoke to John about it on camera, he skated around it like every other question you asked him. He seemed receptive to it.
He skated around every question you asked him, if you want to be honest.
Here's the reality of the situation. If they have their legacy line of cabs and they're getting to a point now where it's like they started, with something small and moldable, and now they're at a point where they're kind of reaching like a state where everybody's like, okay, it has the light up, no riser, light up coin door, light up marquee, better controls, whatever. It's all one piece. And so they're moving to a point where it's like, okay, if you were to release a cabinet line that was a little bit higher quality, or maybe just a little bit bigger,
You mean like
and
the
then
pros?
it had a downloadable platform on it, i.e. like a Capcom cab, then people are going to be able to buy game packets or buy games for that, or have like even, if you really want to get nitty gritty, like an online service where you can subscribe and play different games on it from that particular brand, that licensed brand. Because whatever they're doing, they're going to be using their licenses that they have. And John has said before in the past that they're not necessarily always going to release cabs for some of the licenses, particular licensed games that they have. So then that opens up the possibility that these are games that could be released separately. You could just buy the game for $9.99 and then download it to a certain platform, even if they do it on a level of it being consoleized. I'm just saying, like, this is the reality of the situation. They cannot, as a company, continue to do the same exact business model.
Sure they can.
And
100%.
No.
You're wrong.
No.
You're wrong. Let me
You're
ask.
wrong.
Let me ask all the guys that are in the chat room right now that are at games influencers. How many of you that are in that group of 30? Let me ask you, in that group of 30 in there, when At Games gives a downloaded pass, wouldn't you say at least 10 of those guys out of 30 cannot get a stupid game to install on their pinball or At Games Legends Ultimate? Listen, and these are nerds that are in doing all this stuff. These are guys that are playing with this stuff in and out. These are the guys that are in the chat room right now, not the
Apples to
consumers.
oranges.
No, it's not. Bull crap. They got a store you can download. You click a button.
Okay, so to all that, I say this. Remember back, what was it, 2019? Remember Arcade1up sold those little handheld, the Mega Man and the Pac-Man things
Oh, the
that had nothing
vaporware.
to do with arcade cabinets? Yeah, with the that you were able to easily mod for like $40. I think that was kind of like the experimental phase to see what they could get away with. Now, fast forward to 2022, and we get to the Couchcade, the Pac-Man and the Atari, and those weren't able to be modded because those aren't cabinets as well. They're just little devices for you to be able to play, and they made them 150. They made $180, and they probably made 150 profit, because those things could have been more than $30 to sell, right? I mean, I think eventually they do get there. I'm not saying that's going to be the major part of their business, but I think, realistically speaking, it's adapt or perish. So eventually they're going to have to adapt to this market and realize that, hey, the hardcore, the 1%, the us, is eventually, we're already running out of space and getting rid of these things. Eventually, you can't.
Thank
keep
you.
doing that.
No,
So,
exactly.
no.
So that's
I'll say 4 words to that. John D. ROMs and piracy.
No, it's not. But you're missing.
You open
the
the
point.
board
Look, they
up
can
to-
still make specialized cabs, like driving.
You
cabs,
open the board
Star
up to
Wars,
adding
all these-
games. It adds
these other
vulnerabilities so that
cabs.
people
Oh,
can
agreed.
hack.
Agreed,
And
but
that's
there
what
are-
he does not want.
But that depends on how you do it. And going back to looking at iArcade, because that is iArcade's model.
Right.
They're not open. You cannot
You can hack
add.
it. There's hacks for it. You can add every
no,
game.
it's-
to
oh,
it.
no,
Yeah,
it's-
but you got to
oh,
be
no,
an
it's definitely
Uber.
hacked. It's
You
definitely
got to
hacked.
be an Uber nerd on that one.
But
though.
look,
the
this-
normal
this-
people who own an iArcade are not going to figure out how to hack it and throw games on it. They're going to buy their $5 and $10 game that they want, and they're going to put
Well,
it
once
on.
Moot makes a video, they will.
Wow. All right, so hold on, full transparency in my Discord. If you go look in my Discord deep enough, there is a video because somebody was trying to help me out of the iArcade being hacked with the Arcade1up PCB of X-Men versus Street Fighter, so I could stream. Oh no, the iArcade's already been hacked. But again, what you just said is part of it. I can't make a video on that because then it's, then it is what it's like. That rabbit hole's already been opened. But the thing is, there's always somebody's always trying to hack something. Doesn't matter if it's an arcade, matter if it's a video game console, doesn't matter if it's an iPhone or
Exactly.
They literally just hacked iPhones for emulation.
Arcade1ups are already hacked to Super
Yeah,
Mod
exactly.
in that
And they're still making their money. So they already know marginally they're going to take some losses from X title because of YZ. But everybody was going out to buy Simpsons to go soft mod it. They weren't buying them for $199 because they were $199. They were buying them so they could go ahead and mod them, put freaking TMNT, X-Men, and whatever else on it. I know because I did it and I sold it to Nick. Hi, Nick. I'm just saying, like, listen, it's not going to make a dent in their pockets. There's enough out there for everybody.
Well,
So
Yeah.
eventually it's gonna happen.
I
It
think
happened
I
tomorrow,
think
of course
people
not.
are misunderstanding when I'm saying giving people the option to download games. Look, if you have a legacy cabinet, okay, let's just take the most basic example. Let's take the current Capcom legacy cabinet, and let's say that they give a firmware update that allows you to buy a package of 12 more games for that cabinet that are licensed, that they already had licenses for. Okay, they're gonna make money on it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, even if they come out with a cab that is specifically for that, like we have a new Capcom Legacy cab, and we have 3 different packages of licensed games. These are the 6 games it comes with, and you can buy these additional 12 games in each package. What I'm saying is they already have the licenses. You know what the details are as far as like their licensing terms, I don't know, but what I do know is that they do have these licenses. They don't have to reobtain them unless they have like special terms on some of them, maybe like MVC2 or something like that. So that model is going to be more appealing to people who have been in the game longer and longer, or longer term than others. And even to those coming into it who don't want 10 Arcade1ups in their house, they just want one platform that maybe has a specific set of games that are available, or options. So
that's
to
where
say that they're
iArcade.
going to
That's where iArcade and Act Games
no,
come
because iArcade doesn't get crap for
in.
licenses.
Okay,
Look,
well then you got Act Games.
okay, Act Games, I mean, they have some licenses, but it's still not as good as what Arcade1up gets. Like, you're
So-
not going to get, look, and Arcade1up is still going to be able to sell things like Star Wars, Tron, you know, and some of these other games that are very control or build specific, like Dragon's Lair, where you have a scoreboard, and that's what people still want. People still want things like that.
Oh, I just got it. Okay. All right, Steven. All right. So I think I just got what Steven's trying to say. And it just hit me like lightning, and I just thought about it. Right now, they cannot sell the games. And they cannot sell the games because they are classified as a toy company. They're not a software company. So therefore they'd have to go and like cross all that legal stuff, whatever else, as far as like that classification goes. Can they do it? Yeah, of course. Will they do it? And eventually they'd have to update the Pac-Man cabinet first. And then they need to update like the other. What? I'm just saying.
Well, if you
man.
think about it,
there's a lot that they have to
going
do,
with
but,
Jade's
you know.
logic. Okay, so you have a Star Wars yoke. Let's say there's another Star Wars game that can use the yoke. They can't even get Marvel versus Capcom.
No, that's not
They
what
can't even
I'm
get
saying.
Marvel versus Capcom 2 working, and you want them to offer games that you can download to work with the controls specified on cabinets?
No, what I'm saying is eventually. Do you think I'm talking about like tomorrow they're going to snap their fingers and do
No,
this?
because that
I'm
ain't
saying
going to happen
eventually
tomorrow.
Their business model is going to have to go in that direction. I think
Right.
that the phone app is a precursor to things like that will eventually come along. There is no way their business model is going to stay exactly the same as it is now. And if you look at where they started with a little crappy shark fin cabs that were like cute little
Hey, we like our shark fins.
With these, they were like cute little Furby looking things with the most garbage controls, the most
Well, they were from
garbage emulation.
Hatchimals.
Hatchimals.
Hatchimals. So I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying, let
like,
them be great.
I'm just being realistic here, to where their cabs have evolved to now having like 12 games on them, with the emulation being, you know, much better than it was when they first started out, and, you know, having like more serious developers, better control options, and all these other things that play into the evolution of their company. There is no way in like their business model that they're just going to stay and retain that exact model. With the app,
They won't.
Literally
Yeah,
is the precursor.
I don't
to them
believe they'll sell
developing
games.
things and moving the way that their platforms work down the road.
I don't think they could do the game thing. One, because the way they've explained it even in the past was that they are a consumer company. They want it as easy as possible for the consumer. Where I look at Act Games is more prosumer, and their UI is just terrible. I mean, Arcade1up, you got to give it to them. Their UI is easy. It's stupidly easy. Anybody can use it. Even on the pinball. I think if in fact they offer games, they're going to open up themselves to a world, and I know UAG said it, hackers are going to hack, but they're going to open it up and they're going to lose licensors because of it. And I know John is very protective
not
of
if they have a platform that's like doing licensing checks and stuff like that. I mean, think about any online platform.
But wouldn't you? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. But that's the thing. Once somebody purchases a game or purchases something on that platform and it gets into the home space, they're no longer like liable to what happens. You know, so again,
Right.
so I mean, you could provide some kind of infrastructure where like you do 24-hour checks or something like that. I feel like we're talking about an Xbox now or something. But you know,
well,
where they can do 24-hour checks or whatever. But
they've already
there's
got
talented
serial
individuals in the
numbers and all
community
that
that are
stuff that go along with the online portion of it, anyways.
right. But what I'm saying is like, yo, there's already talented individuals in the community who have already circumvented a lot of this stuff already. So,
well, wouldn't you guys, especially you guys, wouldn't you rather just get a blank cabinet from a wooden cabinet? Jayde, I mean, you could probably score a $200 cabinet and put your own pie or whatever else in there. Like, why would you need Arcade1up to do it?
I hate pies.
Okay, I'm just using it as an example because they're probably the easiest to do. Or just like a plug and play UI stick, wouldn't you?
I mean, is that convenient? Sure, but I mean, like, it depends on what you want. I mean, you have some people like me who have found along the way that, you know, I would rather have like a nice big fat multicade that feels like big, sturdy, and like the real thing with the coin door and all this other crap that's running off a PC that can power all these 3D fighters and all this other stuff.
Yeah, so why would you want a 3/4 like that?
I don't. I'm just talking about what they're going to have to do with their business model. Like, that's the reality
I think
of
they
the
need
situation.
to make...
And not everybody is like me or some of the rest of us where you can build your own cab or where you can maintenance a cab or where you can put a cab together. You know, like, this, the whole point of the company is like just to get something that's built and ready to go already.
Their big market is functional furniture. That's what they said years ago. And they've really held true to that, is functional furniture. And they've done that. And I think that's where we're going to see more and more of this stuff. I think the games, it's not going to be that. You're going to see more of those stupid game tables, but in like...
They would not be making an app unless they had plans.
The app is for stupid leaderboards right now.
Yeah, right now.
Right now. Okay, so then you could chat your friends on it. Screenshots, upload to social media.
You remember Sega TV?
Sega TV, yeah. What about it?
You remember when SNES or Famicom had like the satellite games? You know, like Excite Bike Bun Bun. All these things were precursors to a bigger, more open platform.
Read MG.
You look at every single console, because these are consoleized arcade games. I'll bet they're emulated arcade games, they're ported arcade games, but they are the arcade game. And they're evolving. And they're gonna do what any company that's smart would do, and they're gonna evolve.
And did you see what MG wrote? Look what he wrote. There's bigger margins on MDF.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But we don't know where if Arcade1up makes where they make their money at. We just don't. I mean, if it's the total package, I just don't see it. If they were going to do it, I think they would have done it by now.
Because look, they're just barely getting their shit together.
Oh, that's right, because they can't get things online yet. You're right. My bad. I take that back.
I think there's bigger issues, and I'm curious myself about to see how the app goes, only because how they're going to handle the account thing, how they're going to handle the account name thing. If you bought a Big Blue and then you bought Capcom Legacy, or if you bought NBC,
think about, if you can scan your cab, then what does that do? That links the cab to your account, to your name, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, but
yes.
She gets on a roll, man.
So what I'm saying is, like, the account thing for a lot of these cats who wanted to upgrade their cabinets, they had to restart their records, they had to reset because the names couldn't be transferred over because it was tied over. So I'm wondering, as far as the account thing, is that going to be a fix? If maybe you do scanning your barcode and link into that cabinet, you know, I'm like wondering if that's something that can get restored and
that would be smart, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be nice to make smart. And people can upgrade and actually be honored for their work.
If you had an email that was attached to your account, and then that was just attached to all of your stuff, which, you know, was part of like this whole app setup, online setup.
That'd be great. And then I could have an avatar, you know what I mean, with like check-ins and maybe achievements or something. I swear somebody had a video about something like this.
I don't know. I don't know, Jade. Worst Jago came back. He says, you can only make $50K on $20 upgrade packages if 2,500 people buy it. That's peanuts for Arcade1up. They sell toys at a
but
way
it's not.
bigger
It's
margins.
not always about. It's not always in its entirety about their profit margin. As sometimes it's also about their appeal, and you have to think like what it's like. Microsoft, Xbox, all them. I mean, how much do they make? How much profit did they make on the PS5 and the Xbox? Like these companies.
Oh, they don't make any. They don't make any money. A lot of times they actually lose money.
Yeah, they're losing money on all that.
Exactly, but in the long run, where are they making their money?
On hardware.
Yeah, it's just a lot of these things where like as far as like digital sales go, a lot of companies prefer digital over physical because they're not really spending any materials to make these games. They're printing them off.
Right.
But to that point, there's two sides of that. Like right now,
and Microsoft selling them for the same price.
Right, and on the Microsoft Store right now, you can buy a lot of these games, that are arcade classics right now for 99 cents a piece on Xbox. So I guess.
But you're not playing it on a skinned arcade.
But you could with the Intech gaming panel, you could do that. Sync it up via Bluetooth.
Right, but not everybody. That's not going to appeal to everybody. I mean, think about it. We're nerds. We're nerds. We're hardcore. We're like, look at this device.
Yes, of course. And people are lazy. Like they want it. It's their money. They want it now. I completely get all that.
Yeah.
But I guess the same thing would be if they let's say if they did open up a store like this, right? Then that requires them to maybe download the APKs and put them on the thumb drive and throw the thumb drive or the micro USB inside of a cabinet. Already, you've lost 70% of the audience because 70% of the audience doesn't want to do that, or maybe they don't have the capability to do that. Again, a lot of these things are people just want to grab them, plug them in, and play them. A lot of people don't even update their cabinets.
What's going to keep? Look, I put a video on my YouTube that was from another YouTuber who is like a casual, a normie, so to speak.
I saw that.
And
video.
his basic thing that he said was, I'm gonna sell these because even after a while, like even my friends coming over, it gets old, and so it's like, what's gonna keep that cabinet in their house? That's gonna have to be a part of their business model, because there's gonna always be the collectors who are just collecting them, and they're probably not gonna sell them or not sell all of very many of them because they just want that big base. But then there's gonna be the people like that who are like, what
I got news
why
for
do we
you.
want to keep
They're
this?
throwaway cabinets. They're not made to be in your house forever. So if by the time you're sick of them, they're gonna die anyways.
Show us a picture of your basement again, please.
Well, that's why I said mine have been, but I think the $300 ones. Let me ask you something, and this will put an end to this debate really quick. Okay, wasn't this the same company that you're saying needs to develop or should develop an app store with games for people to download to move their business forward? I'm going to take your approach here. Okay, do I got that right? Just so I have it correct. Right?
They've already developed.
Okay, they developed the app. Okay, this is the same company that Code Mystics had to go out and build lobbies for you guys in Killer Instinct because 1, they didn't have the developers, 2, they didn't have the funds, and 3, they didn't give a rip about what the consumers wanted.
No,
that's the three big things.
I'm going to step in on that one real fast. That Killer Instinct was a debacle because some idiot thought it was a good idea to tell John D that we didn't need online spectate mode. Yeah, I'm going to jump on that because that was on the thing.
So why did you tell John D you didn't need it?
Oh. That was nice.
I got you.
That was nice. That was nice. I like that. That was nice. Well, I'm going to hold that one. The rest of the stream is brought to you by Lemonades from Girl Scout. I'm going to hold that. Yeah.
Watch out, Stephen.
I was waiting for him to say like UAG said it or something. So I was trying to beat him.
No. Listen. Those in the know who said it, and it's not my job to bury that person. Because
you're being completely serious about that.
Yes, I'm being serious when I said
that.
Yeah.
I thought you were just messing around.
No. I was being serious when I said that. But
okay.
Again, not my job to bury that person.
Okay.
But again, it's just one of those things where it's just, some things I think it goes over John's head and marketing, whatever else, right? That they don't think that they need. They didn't.
The company is not getting any smaller.
Right. It's just getting bigger.
Business model, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the thing that like some things they might not think is worth it, might actually be worth it for them in the long run. Blitz was a perfect example for them not to have a sports cabinet to put spectate mode on, because you think about the tournaments and just the gameplay and the things that people would want to do and watch that. that arcade experience.
Kind of like
That was a
HDMI
missed
out.
opportunity.
Kind of like HDMI out
Yeah,
for people
kind
to
of like
stream it.
HDMI out.
No, they don't
they put
need that.
Well, they put HDMI out on the KI Pro, and that thing wouldn't even carry sound. So I mean,
Well,
baby
who
steps,
does that?
really,
Who does that?
baby steps. I'm just saying,
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's the spotlight is much hotter on them now, and
Well, that doesn't mean
that
anything. That doesn't mean anything
no,
because
it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm just saying, like, their company is getting bigger. They're growing. They have a lot of licenses, a big game licenses.
Mhm.
They now have this app, and they're starting to slowly interlink their platforms with this app, and all of these things are going to bleed outward, and it's eventually going to cause change in the way that their business model
Agreed.
works.
And I agree with you. But how can you grow your business and continue to expand if your foundation has cracks in it? It's the same thing with the house. If your house has cracks in the foundations, eventually it is going to fail. So if you're not fixing the stuff at the base, how can you keep building upwards? You know what I mean? And that's the problem right now. They need to fix the base.
Yeah, they're right. They're trying to patch leaks, basically, in the ship, so to speak. They're trying to patch up these leaks, and they're going to have to repair all these areas that they have problems, which I think that they are eventually going to get on top of it, but in the long run, in the long term, as far as like the size of the company and their business model moving forward, there's no way that it's not going to evolve to at least have some digital portion to it, or consoleized version of something. Like, they're going to have to start offering something that's different, or that gives people a way to
devil's advocate.
What's the word I'm looking for, to everything in one place.
Centralize it.
Yeah, centralize
devil's advocate, though. And I was sitting here thinking about this while we were sitting here talking about, what if they're actually losing money? I know that sounds really funny.
They could be. They wouldn't tell you that.
But yeah, exactly. What if they're actually losing money? And a lot of this stuff is like, here, let's get this out so we can recoup some losses. You know what I mean?
They could be. I mean, they did lay off people. I mean,
yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, because a company that's selling millions and millions of cabinets and products and things of that nature shouldn't be laying anybody off. You know what I mean? Unless they're just really bad at the job. But a lot of people got laid off, from what I understand. So, what if that's the case? What if it's what if it's the reason why these cabinets keep getting marked up, but things getting brought down to where it's like the R&D maybe getting to the point where this needs to be perfect so that these individuals buy it. So we don't have to keep sending out PCBs or swapping out control decks, et cetera, et cetera. Because you got to remember, all that's cost as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what if?
Bill, you've been quiet this whole time. I want to give you a chance to do some rebuttal here. No. Because I was ready to
go get the popcorn. Are you kidding me?
I want to do a quick skit really quick.
Popcorn sounds good.
This was a phone call earlier. Hi, Steven. I'm really sick today. Do you think that we could only keep the show to an hour? Yeah, sure, we could do that. Or if you got to jump off, that's
and
totally
then let me do my impression of
wait.
Steven. Yeah,
I was like, you could jump off. Wait. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, because I'm really sick. Here it is, 2 hours into the podcast. Arcade1up needs to do this, and this is going to be for their business. And they need to do this, and you're wrong. And no, you're wrong. And it's 11 o'clock, and here we're still going.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah. Then I want to turn it over to Bill. So go ahead. Go ahead.
You can seen? I've been talking so much. I have the real black lung. Okay.
I had to bust your chops on that.
I've been coughing up chunks of coal. Here's
Oh
Steven, though. Here's Steven. Yeah, we'll definitely keep the show to an hour, 2 hours in.
Wait a second. This isn't. No, don't put this on me. I said if you have to jump off, jump off. I usually try to wrap it up after about an hour.
Yeah,
20.
let me just abandon my crew here.
See, I knew it. Bill,
No.
put a bow on this, man.
No,
give us
we
the
definitely need to wrap this up.
We got to
because
wrap
this
it up.
Getting going off the rails here.
They love it in the chat room.
Yeah, I'm sure that they do. Look, who knows? Who knows what they're going to wind up doing in the future? But I have to say, I mean, just looking at them the way that they are now, I don't see it as their business model. Their business model is to try to sell the same cab over and over again. You know, they're going to keep selling. Why, put out a cab that, you can download a bunch of games when they can sell you, a Pac-Man again 3 more times? I don't know.
Are you being facetious or?
No, I'm being totally serious.
Oh,
I'm actually
okay.
being totally serious about that. They keep putting out the same ones over and over again, and I get why they do it, but their model is very different from At Games or iArcade or Pixel Bash or any of these companies that make like a multicade. They're more in the business, I feel, of putting out cabs with a handful of games on it that hit that nostalgia mark and remind you of what you played in an arcade. I don't know that's something that they want to change. Maybe in the future.
I don't think that they want to change it in that respect, though. I'm just saying that down the road, some things are going to change, and the app is like a precursor to that. And I think that would be the smart thing to do from a business point of view, in my opinion.
I think we're making a lot of assumptions about an app that nobody's really seen yet.
Well, I mean, nonetheless, it's still an app, and it's, in my opinion, it is a precursor to change in the way that their entire system works.
Just like iArcade and At Games, we saw how that changed.
But you know what? Let me say this: I could be completely wrong, and in a decade from now, when their business model is what it is, I will gladly step up and say, I'm an idiot. I was wrong.
The NyQuil was talking.
A decade later.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, I guess we'll find out about that app thing in the very near future because of the thing. So we'll find out in the very near future.
Who else can do what they do at that price point, though? That's what I want to know. Somebody tell me who else can do what they do at that price point.
Nobody's debating that.
No.
Oh, sorry. I was reading a question in the chat.
Oh, I'm sitting here. I'm like, I'm not debating. Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we got to wrap this up anyway, so I'm going to say it from a famous broadcaster, and that's the way it is. A little bit of Walter Cronkite for you guys.
Where's Jay go? Hold on. Bring it. He's got a good comment.
You're killing me.
He said he'd be more inclined.
I just want to let you guys know, put this on. Yeah. This is Jade keeping this going after she just lambasted me.
You know what? You've held me hostage for this long.
No.
But he says, I'd be more inclined to agree with Jade if Arcade1up showed any interest in just fixing bugs. How can they offer new games and never fix bad bugs that were released? And
yes,
to that, I mean, that's kind of like what me and Mike were talking about, like that they need to fix these things. But I think that these are things that they're working on. I mean, at least with a couple of the newer games that they've released. And I know that like Street Fighter has gotten like the newer gen Street Fighters, and I think Big Blue have gotten some updates that are supposed to fix latency and input lag. Well, I still think the emulation is screwed up on some of them, but I mean, the point being that I think that they're going to, because of the amount of attention that the company is getting, that they're going to fix some of these bugs. And with that being said, the platform is never going to be arcade perfect. It's either going to be ported or emulated.
Fixing the bugs like they did in Terminator 2 for the audio, and how they fixed the bug for the sync in the audio video in Dragon's Lair, and how they put Marvel vs. Capcom 2 online. And they put spectate mode in Mortal Kombat.
I love my Dragon's
Just
Lair.
wondering.
And this is how we end up here another hour.
We're gonna wrap. We're gonna wrap.
I wish they would fix that, but it's not something that destroys the entire experience of the cab.
To you it doesn't, but to other people it does. That's the point. Either way, we will carry this discussion on next week. I got to wrap this up.
Their business model 10 years from now.
The NyQuil's kicking it on her. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike of all trades. Mike won't be with us next week. Mike, why aren't you going to be with us next week?
because I'm being kidnapped to help host and commentate the well, not being. I was asked. I'm not being kidnapped. Okay. But next week Thursday on the official Arcade1up channel, there will be a Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition tournament. I push for hyper.
Is that the future of Arcade1up? I'm just asking for a friend.
Listen. It's so from what I understand, and here's the interesting part that people should take from this. To participate in this tournament, you have to sign up on the challenge website that's linked, and you have to have the app downloaded, which means the app is coming out in the next day or two or next couple of days.
So when
don't quote me on that. I'm just telling you what the parameters are. Also, there's prizes that are going to be there as well. So
Quoted.
For anybody who's missed out, and hey, if you never heard me on one of my tournaments, or you've heard me call commentary back in the day on Put the Chords in Glass, whatever it's like, you want that old school feeling, come hang out. Myself, UAG, and John D will be there as well. So yeah, come out there. It'll be fun.
Well, you had me until you said that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh well, all right then. Well then, never mind then. You know what I mean? But yeah. So there's that, and then just regular stuff that I got going on tomorrow night. Killer Instinct will get used and whatever else. So yeah. So I'm sorry in advance, but
it's all good.
That's where I'll be.
Best place for that stuff in the space, by the way, Mike.
Thank you. So I try not to promote it in this space because I'm trying to keep it separate, let it grow organically. But
it's
I guess
too late.
I mean, if people want to come over there and hang out, by all means, come out because we do random stuff. Especially on Monday nights now, we just did karaoke, and this Monday is Gartic Phone. So yeah, like we just have fun over there. If you like games, you like having fun, go to the Mo Plays channel. That's where you can see all the enthusiasm and my laughing and smiling and stuff. So yeah, but it was fun. Jay kept us here another hour, but it was fun.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I mean Mitchell saying the app is just for easy purchasing and info.
Stop reading the chat. We're signing off. Stop reading the chat. Oh,
what a waste of an app.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jayde Shelion at Shelion Gaming.
Is that what my name is tonight?
Yeah, that's what you always have your name. So I
thought I put like Mega Bitch or something.
You did, but I don't put
that's not you. That's not you though. You're
Shelion. Anyways, do you got any videos coming out this week? I know you said you postponed your thing till April because I know you got a lot going on right now. What do you got coming out?
I don't have any videos coming out. I will be working on my Z-Back this weekend.
Your Z-Pack? Yeah, you're going to need that.
My Naomi Z-Back, my beautiful Naomi Z-Back. And probably my HS5 a little bit, but yeah.
Awesome. Bill, what do you got?
A headache. Mostly.
You and me both. I just want to put no YouTubers have been harmed in this episode.
Physically, no. Emotionally, maybe. I'm going to be finishing up getting the game room ready. I got a couple of things that I'm working on. I know we talked about that little Ambernick player. I've got mine. I'm going to be doing a video on that and a few other things. So, there'll be some stuff coming from me.
Awesome. So make sure you check him out at Bill's Retro Gaming Show. And, guys, this Saturday we will be streaming live the game night. If you guys want to come out and watch how YouTubers don't play their Arcade1ups, we'll show you that we don't play the Arcade1ups, and we don't play video games. We just talk about them. But if you guys, we had a bunch of guys last week that had a lot of fun that were hanging out. They hung out for the whole 4.5 hours. MG, there was a bunch of guys in there. Adam, if you got nothing to do and you just want to hang out with us and feel like you've been here, I'm working on getting 2 other cameras in the other console room set up for Saturday. So we should have a total of, I'm thinking, 8 to 10 cameras.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, and I pulled up like you just saw it. I'm going to try to put them all on the screen like that so you guys can see it. And we'll kind of switch around, but I have a feeling it's going to be hostile because there's a new pinball leader and it's not me. So I have to get in there and fight and scrap now. So I also have an unboxing that's going to be dropping tomorrow if I can get it edited, which I should be able to do, of a gaming headset. So if you're in the market for a new gaming headset, check this out. But guys, we really appreciate it. We will see you next week. Even though there's a tournament going on, we will be here next week. And
support them.
We'll have some fun, and we'll check in with these guys from now and then next week and see what's going on.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
What?
Go ahead, Jay.
First of all, the show can never end unless I interrupt you and say, "Wait a minute,"
I
because
was actually
that's
waiting
what I
for
do.
it.
Well then let me interrupt
But
you so you can interrupt him. Wait a
okay,
minute.
yeah,
All
and
right,
then we'll
so
chain it back to Steven.
yeah, of course, tag team. Listen, yo, for my video game people out there, and you guys might care. Hey, the Chainsaw demo is out on Steam, Xbox, PS5, PS4 for Resident Evil 4. You should play it because it came out today, and I downloaded it, and it's freaking great. And I got to interrupt Jade. It's all good. So yeah, that.
Thank you. It was a pleasant interruption. Okay, and then I just want to say, like, all of this talk, I feel like this is very important. I have no idea. I'm just like saying what I think they that. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Were you saying
Wait,
something?
are we still live right now?
Yeah, you're still live.
Oh, okay.
No,
Anyway,
Do you
we're
really
done.
think I would
We're
take you
done.
off in the middle of that?
yes. I'm just talking about what I think that Arcade1up should. I'm waiting for you to just screw me over again. Do with their business model, and where it could potentially go. Like, I have no idea, you guys. Oh my God, Steven.
What? I didn't. I think the TriCaster has a mind of its own tonight.
It
I don't
doesn't
know
even
what's
matter
going
anymore.
on.
You know what? Here's what's going to happen. Let me just predict what's going to happen instead of even telling you guys this. People are going to watch the stream and they're going to be like, look at this dumb bitch, doesn't know what she's talking about, just, thinking that Arcade1up's going to do all this stuff. I'm talking about a business model, what I think they should do, and what I think makes sense in my mind. Okay, I have no freaking. You're still here? Go home. It's over. Go.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go. Chicka-chicka.
Are you frozen?
Dun, da, da. I love all you guys. Have a great weekend.